don't know the power of Krypton Radio. We would be honored if you would join us.
Hello, everybody. We are. We should be on.
I don't have any.
I'm lowering the music here. Yeah, I don't hear us either. Why don't I hear us? Hello. Ah, there we go. It's always the little things.
I still don't hear us.
Good evening, everybody.
Maybe I do.
You do. We're just,
Okay.
There's music and there's stuff. But I'm pretty sure we're going.
Okay.
All right.
We're on Twitch, according to Mr. Gerds.
I wonder how much collective time we spend going, are we on? Can you hear us?
Hello, are we still on?
It's like, the technology is set up the same way every time. And it's weird. Except for Jeff, which you can see on Twitch, that he's not here with us. Because we are all sort of self-sequestering from coronavirus stuff.
Yep.
Which his wife seems to have gotten, and so she's been quarantined, and it's been interesting.
Jeff, you gonna call?
Anytime, Jeff. I am Obi-Shawn Crosby.
I'm calling Kaylee Crosby.
Jeff will call in shortly. Go to twitch.tv/ sorry, Jeff is calling in the middle of this. Hold on. Hang on a second, Jeff. Alrighty, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I've got to use my phone this time instead of the headphones part, so it might sound different.
No, you sound pretty good.
Okay.
All right, so I was just encouraging everybody to go to twitch.tv / docking_bay_94. That's where you can see us if you need to see us. Also, you can go to kryptonradio.com and listen to us there. And if you're listening to us, you want to go to facebook.com/dockingbay94 radio show. It's all one word. And that's where Boba Kit Sovine puts up all the links and stuff to what we're doing, what we're talking about, and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's kind of weird. How's your wife doing, Jeff?
Doing pretty well. She's, has there's the other symptoms that come up from time to time, but the main one that's causing problems for everybody that has that thing is not really it's not really present. Like sometimes it creeps back for like a second or something, and then it goes away.
Right.
So
is that the breathing problems?
Yes, it's the tight chest and short breath, and that I think that came back like last night came back briefly, but because she I think she worked a little too hard at doing during her work from home kind of thing and such, so she rested up and she's doing better today.
Good.
So,
yeah, on Facebook she seemed to be a little optimistic about how things are going. So so that's good.
Well, that's good.
Exactly.
We don't have any symptoms or anything, as I guess
Yay.
you don't either, Jeff.
No.
And I went to the pharmacy yesterday, where the usually very nice people at Kaiser got very aggressive.
Tense.
Yeah, they were pretty tense, which was weird because I walked in, I made sure we were distant, and I said, just so you know, our co-host has it in his family, and so we don't have any symptoms, but just for information, we'll let you know. And so we had to go through all this stuff. That they went and got my medicine, and they gave me the worst paper mask that didn't really cover my face, and and they placed my prescription out where I had to go and get it away from everybody and take it back to my car. And they're like, we can't let you leave unless you put this paper mask on. It was really weird, and the bedside manner just went right out the window, which I found to be very, very strange, as opposed to this is what we're gonna do, which is usually what I get. Everybody's usually super chill, and these people were quite uptight. But they had us call our doctors today, and Colleen has a different doctor than I do, and we both talked to our doctors, and they went, well, do what you're doing,
Yeah.
So that was it's like, what do you want us to do? We're like, well, the pharmacy made us call, and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
So that is how that went. But yeah, we don't have any symptoms either.
Oh, good.
And
today the only thing I had problems with is the same thing I have every year, because they decided at my work to do all this wonderful landscaping outside, and then by my house too. So my sinuses are just going nuts.
My allergies are just doing their usual allergy thing. But of course, every time I clear my throat, which with my allergies is a lot, I'm like, I'm going to die!
Yeah, I know.
So,
same thing for me. I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah. The whole thing is low, Sean.
No, you're high.
Well, because you moved it up. But the whole thing is lower than it was before. Yeah.
Well, and Colleen's closer. So Colleen has moved her office here into the studio. And so the place,
this is my office.
The place where she usually sits is now her work desk. And so
I've taken over Jeff's portion.
There's an extra monitor. There's all sorts of paperwork and stuff. And she is sitting considerably closer to the camera than she usually do. And so her head's very large. And I'm trying to make adjustments.
I really do think that it's bent down.
It's not that. It's the size of your head.
Okay.
So
my head just grew.
But it's the camera's way high now, actually. So it's just a matter of adjusting things, and it's weird. I mean, if you look at Jeff is still BB-8.
I'm just around.
He's now in Indiana Jones costume though. So,
I don't have any
at least we got that going
images, so I have to take everybody's word for it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's the way I equalize stuff is like based on the size of everybody's head. It's like so that we all kind of look uniform and stuff.
Yeah, gotta move my camera way back.
Yeah. Well, I hope everybody listening or watching or whatever is actually doing very well. People are indicating that they're pretty healthy. I'm going to reload here because I still show that we're not like showing live video or anything here, which is weird. So
it's just like
our internet is extremely slow, I think, tonight, which is
Twitch is very
bad.
twitchy right now.
Yeah, it is. It's really awful, and I don't know. Colleen has my plug-in that I would plug my computer into.
Do you want it back?
The thing, and no, I can't really do it in the middle of the show because her wireless isn't working at all, and so we had to plug her like directly into the router, and of course you can't get stuff. So like if you need a cable, can't get it. If you need like a new mouse or something, you can't get it. It's really hard to get stuff. Everybody's working from home, and they all need equipment, and so everybody's out of stuff. Which is bad.
And since we're trying to stay at home, it's hard to get anything anyway.
Yeah.
It's not like we can just run out and go get it.
It's tough. We tried to get some dinner tonight, and we thought we failed miserably. We went to McDonald's, and we thought that it being a gigantic chain and this being one of the newer restaurants would be terrific. But oh my gosh, it was just awful.
It did not work.
We ended up with no food.
We ordered it online and paid for it online, and then it said, "Okay, press this button when you're here." And so we got there and we're like, "Okay, pressing this button," and then it would say, "But you're not here yet." And we're like, "No, we're here, really." And we even tried to go through the drive-through, and they were like, "No, we see nothing." So, and then we're like, "Okay, we won't have much interaction with them through the drive-through. We'll like clean our credit card off before we give it to them, and then we go up to order, and the whole reason why we went to McDonald's, which was to get Sean his annual Shamrock Shake, the first thing they said was, "Well, we don't have any shakes today." So poor Sean.
Yeah, and you think that would have been something that the app would have been able to tell you because you have to choose the restaurant you're going to, and it was just terrible. And we thought that we were going to minimize any kind of concern and like coronavirus concern and technology concern and all that kind of thing by going to like arguably the largest chain restaurant in the country, perhaps the world. And boy, did that fail. And so no Shamrock Shake, no coffee. Tonight just has not worked out.
Oh, geez Louise.
And admittedly, these are first world problems, but it's disappointing nonetheless. And I'd been looking forward to doing this for a couple of weeks, and just to get the shake and the thing and oh well, such as it is. I'd much rather actually that our dopey Twitch connection work.
Yeah, it's kind of
I can't even do a speed test on the video over here, and the thing is that's a bummer.
On the video or just a regular speed test?
A regular speed test on the internet. Our download is okay, but our upload's been really terrible. One of the things that I guess just because everybody's working from home, and so there's no bandwidth really,
pretty much
to do it. And,
Twitch I've got Twitch on my
it's
laptop
dark.
over here.
It's gone dark.
It just said it was a network error. Please try again.
Yeah, I don't even have it. I have a dark screen with no update.
Kit, what are you making?
And we're at like 1.4 or something. I guess I can try and find another cable maybe and connect or something.
Yeah, it's not connecting to speed test, but it's actually it's loading ads, that's why.
Well, and Colleen is plugged in.
Speed test plugged in is ping at 25, Download.
Oh, there we go. I just lost us over on Twitch too.
Oh.
Lame. The people on the radio were
Download
like,
is 49.74, Sean.
okay.
Do you want this cable back since you lost everybody?
No.
Oh.
No. I'm sure I probably have another one somewhere. I just have to find it. I just had it. I've got one in a bag that I haven't like even ever opened.
Okay, well, they're saying that the video is crap, but the audio is still working.
Well,
so
good.
Yeah.
As long
let's
as
keep
Imagine.
talking.
as long as the audio is
So-
working.
Right.
While he's looking, so you guys had trouble with McDonald's. Here we, Christina actually made a French onion soup with beef. Actually,
No, that's cool.
Yum.
yeah. So that's what I had.
Yum.
Yeah.
Well, we
This is
had
not
a
network
consolation
cable.
prize of frozen bao from Trader Joe's instead of
Yeah.
leftovers. Especially
Gotcha.
since Sean was already in a bad mood and he didn't like dinner last night that much. So I don't think he wanted a repeat of it.
It was, I don't know. It needed something. It was chicken, but it tasted like tofu, and
It was
Yeah.
not tofu in any way.
I know
shape,
it
or
wasn't
form.
tofu. I know it was chicken, but it didn't taste like chicken. It needed something in it, and I don't know what it was.
Becky says she can hear us on the Krypton radio phone app, so
Great.
we're good there too.
All right.
So Sean
Yay.
will continue to do that.
Yeah, I
and,
guess I'd have to go. I think into the next room to get cables and stuff to
right.
plug in, because I don't seem to have the thing I thought was a cable in a bag is actually a hard drive cable.
Oh, damn.
And I've had enough hard drive issues. I lost our photo hard drive died, and it's got 20 years of photos, and it's coming
that
right on the
blows.
heels of having lost our backup, where I backed up all those photos too.
Ugh.
And
Damn.
so we're gonna have to apparently pay a bunch of money to get somebody to get these things off our hard drives.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
So the meal that Sean didn't like was Moroccan couscous, which I liked. So
It didn't taste very Moroccan. I always think of like Moroccan as like really spicy and stuff. Maybe I'm wrong.
it had raisins and onions and almonds and
It had a lot of
dried
stuff in it. Yeah,
tomatoes
I mean,
and-
maybe it's just me. Maybe I just could not. I couldn't taste anything or something. I don't know.
maybe
Oh,
because
man.
my chicken tasted fine, but then I like tofu, so
It
there's me for
it
not
just
having any taste.
it tasted like salt to me. So I don't know. Maybe I'm broken. Wouldn't be the first time.
Anyway. And
Yeah, it was just kinda weird.
and then today we had the last of the brownies, so I'm gonna have to try and come up with another dessert, even though I'm running perilously low on flour, because flour is a challenge to acquire.
She placed an order earlier in the week for groceries and stuff, but they're not going to get here till Saturday. And then when it does, we don't know what we're going to get.
Right.
We may
So
not get
whatever's-
everything we ordered.
It's the order is being like they're going to go pick the order at the end of the day. At the end of the day on Saturday, so chances are not great that we're gonna
Wow,
get.
that's brutal.
Yeah.
Really? That's what they said? They're
What
like,
the
we're going to pick it
hell?
after everybody else gets the...
Well, it's being delivered at between 7 and 8
Mm-hmm.
p.m. on Saturday night, and it is they pick it and then they deliver it. So, and it's not the Ralph's employees; it's the delivery company's employees.
Oh, great.
Yeah, they're like personal shoppers. I've ordered this way for work before.
Right.
And also, like, the amount of things that they will substitute are mighty.
Yeah,
Even
well-
when it is not
Authorized?
coronavirus.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're trying to be responsible and not go out and not do anything, but it sure is hard. It's really difficult because, honestly, there's the supermarket. I have a car, or I could walk there with bags and do my own frickin' shopping. But we're trying to be good people and not put anybody potentially at risk.
Yeah. Well, it's only for one more week. So if we don't get it in the next week, then we are able to go back out and try to acquire it ourselves in the world. But we've been watching some some videos that show how to disinfect things as they come into the house, and that looks fun. Like having to wash all of your apples in the sink before you eat them.
Spray your bagged broccoli with Lysol. That's good.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's like anything that comes in a bag, anything that you get that comes in a package, replace the package. Just throw it out. And so, like loaves of bread, take them out of the bag. Things,
or clean it with disinfectant.
Right. Well, and that was the thing too with like the fast food that came into your house was the guy was like just dumping everything on a plate out of the package and then microwaving it. Because apparently microwave will kill some forms of COVID.
He said
viruses.
you didn't have to microwave it, but
So.
Weird.
you could microwave it just to kind of make sure, in case anybody.
Yeah, I know. He
touched
was
anything.
a nurse.
A doctor.
He said he was a healthcare provider. It was vague.
I thought he said he was a doctor,
Yeah.
but
So.
whatever. So Jeff, you want to talk about Star Wars
gosh.
history?
Sure. Golly. Hey, there's 3. That's right. So on March 22nd, 1976, principal photography starts on episode 4 on location in Tunisia.
Woo!
Yay.
Long
Very
ago,
good one.
far away.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. March 20th, 1998 was the last pickup shot for episode 1. It was sold at Leavesden Film Studios for the moment when Senator Palpatine meets Anakin Skywalker. So that was like the last pickup shot for the movie.
Cool.
Yeah. And our last one is LucasArts releases the next installment of the Jedi Outcast series on March 26, 2002, called Jedi Knight 2.
See, I don't think of that as the Jedi Outcast series. That's all the games feature Kyle Katarn, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think of them as the Dark Forces series because that was the first game in the series.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, but yeah. It's whatever Star Wars. I mean, Yankees off of StarWars.com basically. But
right, yeah, no, and it's
hopefully
whatever
they did some
Lucasfilm and
research.
Disney decide what it is. You know,
yeah, exactly.
they make up that guideline, I guess. So,
Yeah, they tend to throw in like birthdays a lot. So
right.
I try to avoid those from time to time because it's like, well, yeah.
Well, and sometimes the birthdays are weird. It's like this guy who played this character in the background of this scene
Yeah.
turned 72 today. I have to be careful about that on my morning show too, because there are a lot of birthdays of people. I'm like, I could probably come up with something for them, but I don't know.
Lord Fauntleroy from 1735.
Exactly.
All right.
Now a guy nobody knows.
So I wasn't paying attention. Where are we?
He finished the Star Wars
Next one
history.
down.
Oh, okay, great. Sorry about that. Rosario Dawson is going to be Ahsoka Tano in season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Which
Rumored,
might be a rumor.
rumoredly, yes.
It says confirmed according to Variety, which I'm like,
But not according to Disney.
Variety says they confirmed it, but they don't say who they confirmed it with. They didn't
Exactly.
say confirmed with Disney, confirmed with Lucasfilm.
They confirmed it with that kid who lives across the hall. Just some random kid.
Right. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's been
Timmy.
reported on all these different sites that, like, Slash Film, I guess, did it first. And, but no one has come forward to do it. And one of the things that makes me wonder is, so it's one of two things. One, they're not really done with principal photography as was announced by the director of photography and by Cara Dune. They both said, we are done with photography. Yay, it's in the can. Either that's not true, or conversely, they have already shot with a whole bunch of different people, and these are massive spoilers that people can't sit on their hands. They got to tell everybody. Because this wasn't the only one. There was another one that came out this week, too, that somebody was like, "Oh, so and so is in it too."
Yeah, well, the other one was Sabine, and then some. Yeah,
Well, yeah, so the Sabine one I don't think was real, and
yeah,
this is one that's been talked about for a long time. It may or may not be real, but honestly, this has been going on for 2 years. That Rosario Dawson was going to play Ahsoka.
yeah. She's been wanting to.
Right, which of course has been making Ashley Eckstein fans very upset.
Yeah,
She did kind of a self-funded screen test where she dressed up as Ahsoka. And she did the makeup and the costume and the whole deal. And she looked good, but she looked very much like the little kid Ahsoka, just because she's a pixie. And I think from what we're seeing in Rebels, which is most of my experience with Ahsoka is from Rebels, she's got a much darker and more badass edge. And I feel like Rosario Dawson could pull that off.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think Rosario Dawson would make a great Ahsoka.
Yeah, and on another thing, and I think we mentioned this on the show before, if you go to the parks and you see Ahsoka like in Walt Disney World or something in makeup, and you see a Disney version of that character, they're usually ethnic in some way, usually African American, or they are Latina or something like that. It's very rare. And when I say very rare, I have never seen it in a picture or video or anything. That I've never seen a white actress play Ahsoka. They always use some with much more exotic features. So I think she'd do really well. But I'm just waiting for somebody to come out and confirm this, because until then it's just a rumor. And even Variety, who says they confirmed it, didn't say with whom.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering who the other... See, I type Mandalorian in Google, and the first thing that comes in is Mandalorian Wraps Production.
The Mandalorian rap, you say?
Yes, Mandalorian Wrap.
Oh no.
So I'm trying to figure out who this other rumored person was, and I can't, because it was another like very wishful thinking deal. Oh, that's who it was. It was Michael Biehn from the Terminator.
Yeah. I heard about that too.
Yeah. So either these are things that were meant to stay spoilers, and people are just throwing them out there willy-nilly, or people are just making this stuff up. And with the way that they were able to keep track of Baby Yoda and not spoil that until the show actually came out, I kind of feel like they'd have a tighter rein on it. So I don't know. We'll see. Regardless, I think that Rosario Dawson would do a really good job, and she is such a Star Wars fan at heart that she even took video of my car on the freeway and posted it on her Instagram stream, which freaked me out. I'm like, wow. And that always makes me feel bad, because sometimes I drive and I like don't turn and look and wave at people, and I'm like, oh, was I a total jerk? I'd have been a total jerk.
Yeah, right.
But she comes by her fandom honestly, is what I'm saying.
That Obi-Shawn.
So
Total jerk.
he's a dick. Yeah, don't do that.
He's a hoser.
Totally, eh?
Yeah. Hasbro has a new 9.5-inch Star Wars line. Which, what the heck is 9.5 inch? Is that
9.5 inches? It's not
like
quite
not
GI
Barbie
Joe.
size.
It's not the 6-inch. It's not the 12-inch. It's in between
what's
those
the
two.
point?
Okey-dokey.
Because
Because they can.
They have the sculpts already. These look like they're basically the budget ones. They used to do the budget ones.
Yeah, they don't even look good.
They used to do the budget ones in 12-inch. And you could get Avengers that way. You could get Star Wars that way. This is probably just a cost-cutting measure.
Oh,
They
yikes.
look like a cost-cutting
It's
measure.
like
they're like
hardly any.
Bad.
they're 5 points of articulation. It
Yeah,
looks
that's
like
what I
it's
thought.
like it's like
There are no
head,
women.
shoulders, hips. No girls yet. Yeah, in the line. But
There are also no women.
so right now it's Vader, Luke, Kylo, and the Stormtrooper. And in fact, honestly, It may only be 3 points of articulation because those legs don't look like they move. No. Shoulders, head, and the waist. The legs don't even move.
Oh boy.
I don't know, man. I don't think these things are really going to sell.
They're gonna be fine for like somebody to hand to their kid in the back of the
It'll be like
SUV.
you can get these over at Big Lots.
Right.
Yeah, Big Lots.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to be the toys where the kid's like clamoring for some toy and they'll just like, okay, this one's cheap. Let's get that one.
Hey, this
Yeah.
one says Star Wars on
It's
it.
Star Wars and it's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they'll all be at the dollar store for a special price of $3.99.
Yeah. Are you out of your mind?
But oh my gosh, they're not impressive.
They're ugly.
And they're costing the same as the 12-inch ones.
Yeah.
Dumb.
So I think it's just a big cheap cost cutting measure on behalf of Hasbro, and it's lame, and they just don't look good.
So we've got a couple of rumors about the upcoming Cassian show that's going to be on
anyway.
Disney Plus.
Okay.
There
Cassian
is
Andor.
rumored synopsis and
Yeah.
something about unused Star Wars characters.
Well, that part actually is not a rumor.
Well, every
Oh.
time they mention unused Star Wars characters, it's kind of ridiculous
They have
because
mold growing on them.
it's just at the rate that they're inserting characters from other Star Wars iterations,
Yeah.
it's not a surprise. I mean, we got a bunch of characters like that in Rebels. We got a bunch of characters like that in the Clone Wars. Of course, Disney's going to mine that stuff for characters that they like.
Yeah, and this is like it came from Neil Scanlon, so
Yeah.
yeah, and you just said there are a lot of them they haven't used. They're going to use them. That's all.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. I mean,
Like-
they were promising us a while ago an anthology show which was going to be Star Wars, and they were going to pull from like these really underused characters that you maybe saw briefly. And there's a series of books that were pretty good, which was called Tales of the Mos Eisley Cantina, Tales of the Bounty Hunters, that focused on a lot of characters that you didn't know anything about. And it was great. It was a lot of fun, except for the dumb vampire soup guy, which was really annoying.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
That was a stupid story. It was the guy who sits at the bar with the hookah, and it turns out he's a vampire, and he mugs people in the alleys, and he drinks their brain soup. And it's like it was just really stupid.
right.
And I don't need a story about that guy, honestly.
No.
But for the most part, the
Almost
stories
like
were really
Susie.
great. And so yeah, I'm not surprised. And didn't they just do the they just did that book that was A Certain Point of View that kind of did that too. It's like, oh look, it's an Imperial officer nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah. Actually, I thought that was pretty good. It was an Imperial officer nobody's ever heard of, but it wasn't like they just randomly made up someone who wouldn't fit in the universe. It was like the guy who didn't shoot down the capsule, the escape
pod, right?
That ejected, and
well, and it's one of those things where
it's like everybody picks a background character.
Yeah, they're just
and they write a
obscure
story
characters
about
you've
it.
never heard about.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to write something, because you get someone who's still in the universe, but you could do anything with them because you don't have preconceived notions. Writing for Darth Vader is hard because we know so much about Darth Vader, and you run the risk of doing what happened in the prequels, which is like completely demystifying Darth Vader. So he went from being, intergalactic badass to being kind of a whiny kid.
So I'm going to say that Jeff, you had said that the synopsis isn't a rumor, but this article.
No, that one is.
No, he said the synopsis is a rumor, but the using the unusual characters is not.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood you, and I'm going. This whole article is a rumor.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
The only thing we know about Cassian is it's just his earlier adventures with espionage and spy work and stuff as a rebel spy. That's all we really know.
Okay.
There's nothing like here's the storyline and what's going on. There's no.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
And then there's this information about 5 never before seen concept art from The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. Here, actually, I can show I can show these on our page here. Let me flip over from Twitch.
Yeah.
Let's do this and make sure that, yes, you can still hear us. Excellent. So, yeah, so here, these ones are just some art that have, resurfaced for things like, sort of like a dark ray kind of stuff. And
Exactly.
The alien celebration that was going on their planet, Pasana, when they went and they had, hundreds of aliens doing their big cool thing. And
Party girl.
Yeah, party girl. and some of these were like not included in the art of Star Wars book for this. And and I think they just kind of like put them up, which was sort of fun. And it's neat to see, camouflaged rebel stuff and whatnot. But I mean, they're not earth-shattering images.
No, it's not like, well, this is how it could have been. No, it's like, well, this looks about what they did, kind of.
It's like, so okay, that was like their inspiration, I guess, for whatever they did. And
exactly.
but it's neat to see that kind of stuff, and I always appreciate looking at the various art books that they put out, even if I do not always buy them.
Well, moving on to theme parks, a family in quarantine recreated the Pirates of the Caribbean at home, down to the dog
Well,
it was good.
that wouldn't
It was
hold the
funny.
keys in its mouth.
I think they had the dog, already.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
And they had
It
a
was
big
funny.
family, too, so you got to do something to keep
They had a
those
big
people busy.
family in what looked like a big house.
A big house.
Yeah,
A big, really clean house.
Yes.
I was like, man,
But
I want my house to be that clean.
they did some clever things, like put the kids in a little fake boat and sent them down the stairs for the waterfall drop and things. And
they had a guy with his foot hanging off. He was like the pirate.
He was hanging off the table
Yeah,
and
that
he
was
was
awesome.
drinking. I don't know what
had
he
a
was drinking.
Jack. Not
Yeah.
Dawson. Not
It was a
Dagger.
fun little video, that's for sure.
Jack. What's Jack's last name?
Sparrow.
Sparrow.
Yeah.
Jack
And
Dawson in Pirates of the Caribbean. Boy, that would be a really different
I
movie.
think like another family sort of did like a really short one for like Splash Mountain too.
Nice.
That wasn't
Yeah.
a short one. That was they just posed their kids as if they were going down the drop. At
Oh, that's
Splash
what
Mountain.
it was. Yeah.
Oh,
For the
so
photograph.
they
posed
did
them sitting between a couple of logs.
So they basically did the picture that you take
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you go over the falls.
Right.
I see. That's cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Neat.
And then some other people are doing a lot of ride-throughs where they put the ride-through videos up on the screen.
On the screen.
And then, they like put the kid in a chair and shake the chair.
Yeah,
or
they've
a
been doing that
laundry
for
basket or-
years. That's been going on for a really long time. It's a little more creative, I think, to figure out how to make that in your house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I've for
Somebody
a
that
long
I know
time
has been having date nights they were their annual pass holders, and so they were at Disneyland like constantly. And their date nights now consist of watching the ride-throughs.
Oh.
Uh,
Oh. But yeah, I do like the ones where they take a kid and they put them in their swing or their little high chair.
Yeah.
They do whatever, and then they put the video on, and then like it's a roller coaster, and they'll like tilt the kid and loop the kid and stuff. That was kind of fun.
and like
Pseudo-
Owen did a short little video as well with his cockatiel. And playing the
For the tiki room.
yes.
I saw that, except
Yeah,
the
he's so
camera work made me a little motion sick.
Yeah.
The camera was bobbing up and down to
Yeah.
get action out of the bird, because the
Yeah.
bird wasn't doing anything, and I couldn't watch too much of it. It made me a little nauseated.
Yeah,
That's
that
how I
was
feel
lucky.
about the actual tiki room.
There's a lot less bobbing in the actual
Yeah.
tiki room.
I think if Owen like just sets the camera down and does the bobbing, the bird will still do it. So I think that was just like a
Right, or
test, as it were.
bob the bird and not the camera.
Yeah.
The bird's on a perch,
Yeah. is cute.
And then Animal Kingdom in Florida has a new baby zebra.
Yep.
That's pretty
Yay.
cool.
Yeah.
Yay, baby zebra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The circle of life. And then someday it'll grow up and they'll put it in the Jungle Cruise. Little lions around it. Just lay it there on the table.
It's a live zebra, honey.
Well, someday it won't be.
Oh dear.
Go. Trailers. Okay, so all the trailers are for streaming because we don't have movie theaters that show movies anymore.
Right.
The first one is coming out April 3rd, which will be concurrent with Onward. That's the day Onward's coming out, isn't it?
Okay, I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
But also on Disney Plus, they will be premiering Disney Nature Elephant and Dolphin Reef.
Yeah.
And wow, Mela, that confused me. Mela just said, "You married him, Colleen," and I'm like,
Yep.
a dolphin? Oh.
Yep. Almost 30 years ago. And I think this closeness, because of her working from home, she's really starting to regret it.
Yeah. I'm like, out.
Yeah.
We will sleep on the porch tonight. That's why I put a chair out there.
Oh dear.
Anyway, Disney Nature Elephant and Dolphin Reef.
Now, these are the ones where, so Elephant is being narrated by Meghan Markle.
Yes.
Right.
And Dolphin is by Star Wars.
Padme Amidala.
Yes.
Yeah, Natalie
What's her name?
Portman.
Natalie Portman.
is doing it. So, could be interesting.
Yeah.
I did figure out that it was the zebra joke, by the way. I had moved on and I was like, wait, what?
Circle of life, man. Even at Disney parks.
Didn't watch the whole thing. I guess I'm not really into nature videos.
Yeah.
They're okay. But then we never went and watched like March of the Penguins either, which is like, the big craze of.
I saw Happy Feet, and that made me not like penguins.
Not want to watch
really
penguins.
long time.
Except the recent penguin video is really cute.
The ones where they take the penguins for a walk
And let them go through
my God. Because the animals are getting bored at the zoos. All of the different zoos are starting to take the animals out for walks.
Right.
So they've got a video where they took a baby elephant out and showed him the sea lions. And the baby elephant's like, these guys are cool. But the most popular videos seem to be the ones about the penguins, where they basically take the penguins and show them all the other animals, including taking them through the admin section of the zoo. And the penguins are like, typewriters.
Desks.
Computers.
All right. Typewriters.
Wow, cool.
How old is this zoo?
It's a very old zoo. It doesn't get a lot of public funding. And so
I mean, it sounds like the zoo in Orange County, and they don't have typewriters.
Oh no.
Okay, well, the penguins don't know they're not typewriters.
Okay.
Moving on. Netflix has on April 22nd a cartoon called The Willoughbys coming out.
Yes.
This was kind of weird.
Yeah.
All of the kids in this, there are 4 children that are siblings and their parents don't like them, so they get their parents to go on a vacation without them.
Yeah.
And then like a babysitter, a nanny comes in. And then Child Protective Services comes in and says, you don't have a family, so we're going to take you away. Yeah. Which, I don't know, it seemed to me, first of all, the kids had very weird hair. All their hair looked like yarn.
And it's all like pink.
It's very weird. And the other thing was, it seemed like such a bad precedent to be like, uh-oh, be afraid that Child Protective Services is going to come and get you. It just...
Yeah.
It also doesn't seem to know what kind of style it wants to emulate or create.
Yeah.
Where it's like bits of it look like the Addams Family, and bits of it look like Pippi Longstocking, and bits of it's like
Aardman thrown in there.
And it's
it
weird.
It's
CG animation, and it's just it just looks really
they
bizarre.
wanted to make it look like it was not CG, like it was stop motion, but it
right,
was CG.
which explains like the yarn hair and stuff like that. But it's just,
I thought maybe that was the animation from the book, because it's taken from a book.
Maybe.
So I don't know, but it didn't. I was like, well, that's on Netflix. Maybe if I don't have anything else to watch.
Anything else to go?
I gotta say though, May 15th on Hulu is a series called The Great, which oh my gosh, I'm gonna watch the heck out of this one. It's
GREAT, not GRATE.
yes.
Because GRATE sounds like a horror movie.
No,
Yeah, or something about
GRATE is a
cheese.
cooking show.
Yeah, it's about cheese.
Yeah. The
This
Great is
Catherine
about
the
like
Great.
Catherine the Great, and it's a
Yeah.
comedy, and it's got Nicholas Hoult,
Okay.
Yes.
and I can't remember the woman's name.
Was it Dakota Fanning?
Yeah, it's a Fanning. I don't.
Yeah. Oh no,
One
Elle
of the
Fanning. I'm sorry.
It
Elle
might
Fanning.
be Elle Fanning.
Yeah.
It looks really good, and I like the clothes.
Okay.
So I'm all over that.
Yeah.
That could
Historical
go
costuming.
in so many different directions. Catherine the Great.
It might go there.
You know,
Yeah.
she has a naughty reputation.
The only thing that I really liked from
You
the
never know.
Willoughby's cartoon trailer was the gas station they stopped at was called the gas hole.
No. Well, and so
And I have not seen the English game.
do you do this too when you hear Willoughby? You think of Twilight Zone?
Willoughby, last stop.
That's the,
Right?
the
Willoughby,
first thing
yes,
that popped
I
in
do.
my
That's the first
damn
thing
head.
that comes
Yeah.
to my head. So,
Yeah.
so Willoughby as a choice of name is interesting. Where those of us of a certain age are like, oh yeah, last stop at Willoughby, that Twilight Zone episode. That's totally awesome.
I don't think it's those of us of a certain age. I don't think we were alive when that episode came out, were we?
Well,
60s.
No, it probably came out before we were born, like just before.
Yeah.
But we saw it in reruns a lot.
Yeah.
True. Okay.
Twilight Zone was a perpetually playing 5 days a week rerun show.
Pretty much.
Wildcard 9 says the gas hole. That's what I hear when I finally connect to the show. Well, then you'll be happy to watch the Willoughbys on Netflix starting April 22nd.
Right. Which features the gas hole.
And Becky says she thinks of Sense and Sensibility when she hears Willoughby.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on.
Could
Do we want? We've got a quarter to the hour already. Do we want to do our quiz, or do we want to move into the rest of peace section?
Let's do the quiz at the top of the hour, I guess.
Okay, so
And-
Sean, why don't you take the next section?
Yeah, so we lost Albert Udiz. I can't even say his last name. Uderzo. It's very difficult. He was the creator of Asterix and Obelix, a series of comic books and cartoons and all sorts of things about Asterix the Gaul, who was around in 50 BC, I guess, is when he kind of like officially started. It's been going on for a really long time, for like, and of course, you know, if you were a kid when we were a kid, you hopefully had some exposure to that, because it was really kind of fun. But it was translated into all sorts of languages. And there were all sorts of movies that came out. It was, you know, Asterix meets the Britons and things like that. And it was all like this weird old-timey fake history kind of stuff, which was kind of fun. But anyway, he was age 92 when he passed away. He had, I think about 10 years ago, he sold Asterix to a different company. And they have been kind of updating it for a modern art audience. Last year, they finally got their first female hero in the series.
Oh, there you go.
And they'd run into you know, historical women like Cleopatra and stuff like that in the past, but this was like part of their team. And it was very, you know, she was a very young girl and street savvy and everything you sort of expect from a modern hero these days.
Yeah.
We lost Bill Rieflin, who was a drummer for King Crimson and R.E.M. and Ministry and Nine Inch Nails. Terrence McNally passed away. He was a playwright who primarily wrote about gay situations and whatnot. So he was he had very much a cult following for a lot of the stuff that he did, and then he made a lot of that stuff mainstream, which was pretty cool, like normalizing all of that.
Okay.
Stuart Gordon passed away.
Yeah.
He passed away at the age of 72, and you may have loved his stuff or you may have hated his stuff. It's a fine line because he worked on like Reanimator and From
Yeah.
Beyond and things like that. So, and he, he
Portraits
also
of-
did like David Mamet stuff and things, but he had the cheeseball horror directly
Yes.
under under control, which was kind of interesting. So he passed away at the age of 72.
Yeah.
Just today, we lost Fred Neal, better known as Curly, in the
Yeah.
Harlem Globetrotters.
That's a shame.
And
Yeah.
that was a guy who was like, he was ubiquitous when we were kids. He was in Scooby-Doo. They had their own cartoon show. It was really very fun, and his playing on the team was phenomenal, and he was even when he stopped playing basketball, he would go out, he would rep the team, and he would just go be a good guy out in the community, which was cool. And so he was always known for his caring and nice demeanor. And yeah, we all knew who Curly was when we were
totally.
kids. And then, of course, probably the big one this week, Kenny Rogers
Yeah.
packed it in. And so he's been doing like a farewell tour, which is like he was calling it the Gambler's Last Deal tour.
Oh wow.
And it was kind of interesting that he just seemed like one of those guys who was probably going to go on forever. But he had a big hit with the song that was in The Big Lebowski, which was I just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in, and then he didn't have a hit after that. He kind of packed it in for music. And then he got talked into performing again and things like that. And it was, he just hit it huge with The Gambler and Everything to Follow. And then he started singing with Dolly Parton, and it was all over. Because they traveled, they did all sorts of TV specials and stuff together. It was amazing. So the family's not going to do anything big. Because of the coronavirus thing, they're going to keep it to a small thing, and then they may do a really big public memorial later on for big fans of Kenny Rogers. So he's Country Music Hall of Fame inductee and things like that, and because of The Gambler, because of the song The Gambler, he became an actor. They made 5 movies based on that one song.
Yes. Yeah.
So, never met him. He always looked like a guy who would be really nice to meet.
Yeah.
So, somebody on my Facebook page used to be security at his studios here in Hollywood. And he was a kid. He was just out of college, and he only met Kenny Rogers a few times too. But because he was working at this recording studio, like all of these amazingly famous people came through. And I think he was there when they recorded We Are the World. They did half of it there, and they did half of it at A&M Records, which is now Henson Recording Studios. So it's kind of neat stuff. Anyway, that's those are the people who passed this week. Yeah. So sad to hear about that. And not from coronavirus, though.
No,
so
none of them were, as far as I could tell.
No, one of them was.
Really?
We had one. Who was it, though?
It was the singer. Not Kenny Rogers.
Not Kenny Rogers?
There was Terrence McNally?
No, he's the playwright.
He's the playwright.
I don't remember. I remember hearing one, but I'm not sure he was on our list.
Oh.
But I remember.
Oh no, it was the playwright. The cause was complications of the coronavirus.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
there you go. Oh,
interesting.
darn.
It's I somehow missed that. Okay. Well, there we go. And it's
and he was in his 80s.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was really. There was an Italian actress, Lucia Bozza, who passed away. The guy who won Top Chef Masters season 3 passed away. Chef Floyd Cardos. And Mark Blum, who was in Desperately Seeking Susan and Crocodile Dundee and things like that, passed away at the age of 69. So 59 was the youngest on that list.
Yeah.
And everybody else was kind of a more advanced age. Interesting. Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize I had missed that.
That's okay. We've got a few more minutes, so let's talk about Marvel and let's talk about conventions. The
Worldcon.
only thing we have is Worldcon.
Yep.
So Worldcon, I can't remember why because of their hotel. Worldcon was supposed to be in New Zealand this year.
Right.
And
boy.
they are normally on Labor Day weekend. And they pushed early to be the same weekend as Costume College, which is the last weekend in July, because that was the only time they could get their hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they announced this week that they are canceling due to coronavirus, and their convention is going to be online instead of live. So they're not. What is it? A bunch of people are saying with their conventions, they're pushing them. They're postponing them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not postponing it. They're going to make it a virtual convention instead.
Gotcha.
So that's an interesting thing. And I think that's the farthest out, other than the LA Festival of Books, that's the farthest out event I've heard being canceled so far.
Now, was that the same weekend as the Olympics? It was like the start of the Olympics? And I think it's
maybe.
also the same weekend as San Diego Comic-Con.
No, Comic-Con is the weekend before. Because Comic-Con is the weekend before Costume College. And Worldcon is the same weekend as Costume College.
Oh, so it's us. Okay,
It's
interesting.
us, yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Comic-Con has definitely not pushed yet. Because I just got a note from their masquerade chair asking if we would do our usual scholarship there.
right.
And I said, well, if you happen, then yes, we will.
Oh boy.
It's a tough
So-
situation because do you really want to be in a place with 150,000 people like so soon after this
Yeah.
plays out?
Even if it goes like the 3 months that people are saying, and it doesn't go because everybody's got their different, like virologists, and everybody has a different idea of what's going on, or at least that they're telling us. And some of them are saying that it's going to be 3 months and then people will have immunity and be done. And other people are saying it's possible that you're not going to have immunity. Maybe you could catch it twice. And so like the regular flu, we would have to be inoculated every year against it, which means it's going to be longer. And
'cause
also
we have
that it's going to go in waves.
Yeah.
So like if you get through the first 3 month period without catching it, or even if you do catch it, it'll come back, and possibly. Nobody knows yet, of course, so it's all speculation at this point. But, you know, we all know it's scary. Everybody's in the world right now, so...
Yeah.
Or, you know, staying home from the world. But...
Well, it's interesting, too, that we have something that we're all experiencing that's like this global thing right now. And we're not getting perfect information. Like, I don't know that we're getting all of the details out of China from what's going on over there, and I don't think
we're getting all the details out of our own government.
No,
Much less
and I don't
China.
think that we've officially heard from like Russia very well, because they're like, oh,
haven't heard anything
we
from
had
Russia.
one case. I think they announced one death.
Oh.
to it, and we're not like getting any information out of that, so we can't tell like what all the real numbers of all of this is and how serious it really is. We can only really kind of focus on our own localities, and we can certainly look at what's going on in England, what's going on in France, what's going on in Italy, see that kind of thing. But it's weird to think that there is this like global pandemic going on, because we've just never experienced that in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's nuts. And so to sit there and go, well, we're sequestered here in, Los Angeles, and then, someone across the country will go, oh yeah, we're sequestered here in, Roanoke, Virginia. And then somebody's like,
sequestered in Spain.
We're sequestered in New Zealand.
Yeah.
We're sequestered in Australia.
Yeah. And the whole thing about how the flu gets less in the summer, if people in New Zealand and Australia have it right now, they're at the opposite end of the seasonal spectrum from us. So
right.
That's, although I guess they're in fall right now, moving out of summer into fall.
Yeah.
We're moving out of winter into
and
spring.
apparently heat is a thing that like helps prevent transmission of it and things like that, in terms of the virus staying viable on surfaces and things. The heat helps take it down, as this was according to the guy who was talking about how to not bring it into your house.
Right.
And so I don't know. I mean, all you can do is stay well, and it's fascinating to see everybody who's now trying to take their hobbies online, where people are scrambling for web cameras, which are really hard to find because people need them for business and people need them for fun now too. So getting your hands on one is really hard because they're all sold out. And then seeing what people are deciding to do with it. And of course we all have cameras on our phones. So like Weird Al went out on his patio, which overlooks the Los Angeles basin. And from where he's at, he should actually be able to see clear to Catalina from his patio balcony thing. And he pulled out one of his older accordions, and he played classical gas on it, which is a really demanding guitar thing. It's got to be insane to do on a piano, on an accordion. It sounded terrific. It sounded really great. It sounded like an accordion, but it was really good.
True.
And so people are like jumping in. They're having sing-alongs. I watched a thing today that was a lip sync thing for Broadway, where everybody had done a lip sync to One Day More from Les Miserables and things like that.
Gotcha.
And it was kind of fun. And it was interesting to watch, even though I didn't really know who any of those people were. But it was bits of it were really fun.
The thing about Al doing this on his cell phone is that he's not new to that. He's done a bunch of things on his cell phone like this before.
Yeah. Yeah, Al is very...
Specifically adding LY to signs with his...
right, or
with
being
his
in the
wife.
supermarket and pointing out the 12 items or less sign and things like that. So
he's my secret grammar boyfriend.
she would leave me for Weird Al, I think. All right. You guys are listening to Krypton Radio. This is Docking Bay 94. I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby.
This is Jeff Solo-Donoho.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
Kit Sovine is doing all of our links and social media over on twitch.tv/docking_bay_94, where we still have a pretty respectable number of people watching, even though our signal is crap today.
Yeah, he's going in and out and out. Yeah.
And over
The
at
video,
kryptonradio.com as well. If you are listening to us, you can go to facebook.com/DockingBay94 Radio Show, all one word, and that's where Kit is posting all of these links about all the things that we're talking about.
And if we go overtime this week, remember that you can listen to overtime on Krypton. You don't have to switch over to Twitch.
Right, as well as Twitch. Although, if the difference is you can listen to us on Krypton. You can watch us on Twitch.
Not if you have my connection.
Whatever
My
floats
connection
your boat.
Doesn't have video. So.
Yeah, it's slow. It's definitely slow. That's okay. We're doing what we can. We make it work. It's not rocket science.
Yes. So, we're doing a kind of a quiz. It's more of a it's not really a quiz. You're just saying what your favorite is.
Yeah.
It's a movie quiz, and you can use each movie once, no repeats.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give a category, and then you have to say what your favorite movie is in that category. Okay. So
Okay.
we're going to start, and I'll go first, and then Jeff will go, and then Sean will go.
Okay.
The first category is favorite movie. Mine, I put
didn't
It's a
have
Wonderful
to
Life
guess.
because it's been my favorite movie for like forever. It's gotten to the point where I don't even really need to see it anymore because it's in my head.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's another favorite movie that has overtaken that, but I'm going to put that. Jeff, what about you? Favorite movie?
Mine is and has always been Harvey.
I was in that
which is
play. It was our
the
senior
film.
class play.
Yeah,
Sean?
it's an excellent movie.
Based on the fact that it's the movie I have seen the most in my lifetime, I probably have to go with Star Wars.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yep.
Favorite, and I don't know who came up with this list, so it's kind of, this next one is oddly specific. Favorite Tom Hanks movie. And I'm going to have to go with Forrest Gump, although I like the choices that Jeff and Sean had better. We talked about this a tiny bit before the show so that we wouldn't take too long thinking about it.
Yeah.
But my favorite is Forrest Gump. Jeff?
Gotcha. Joe versus the Volcano.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's
that's
a really
that's
good
a really
one.
good one. It's hard to pick a Tom Hanks film honestly without having a list in front of you.
Yeah,
there's
that's
a
true.
lot of good ones I like, but
Yeah.
that one.
I really liked Dragnet with Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd.
I gotta say, I love all three of those movies.
Yeah.
So,
Joe versus the Volcano is a pretty amazing movie.
yeah.
And I liked Forrest Gump. It's
feel
just a
like
very different kind of
Jeff
film.
wins this category. If there could be
Oh,
a
yeah?
winner of the categories,
Maybe.
Jeff wins this one
It's a pretty-
because Joe
pretty good
versus the
choice.
Volcano is. You want to marry him? You want to marry her?
Want to marry her? Okay, you're married.
You're married.
Yeah, hypochondriac.
Remember, in all of our lives, no matter where we go, we're taking this
this
luggage.
Someone told you
You
had
have
a brain cloud and you didn't get a second opinion.
Yeah.
We've got answers coming in on our streaming chat. Mela is answering. She says for Tom Hanks, it's Sleepless in Seattle.
Sleepless in Seattle.
Which
I haven't seen that in
movie
so
annoyed
long.
me so much because Meg Ryan
Meg Ryan, right? Also in Joe versus the
didn't
Volcano.
finish
Yes.
her relationship before she went to go meet Tom Hanks.
Oh.
Yeah.
She was living with the guy. I don't think they were married.
Uh-huh.
She was in an unhappy relationship, but in my opinion, she should have
ended it first.
ended it. She was clearly in an unhappy relationship.
Pina
End it.
colada situation.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then
Oh,
go
dear.
meet the other guy. So, and it bothered
Okay.
me so much that I can't claim that one's my favorite.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Movie that makes you cry. And honestly, I couldn't answer this one.
This is hard
Mhm.
because honestly, I can't. I don't really
Yeah.
think of the movies that make me cry consistently until I watch them, and then I'm like, ooh.
What? But the thing is, for me, it's kind of situational. Like one time, I could watch Dumbo, and I'm just like all teary.
Right.
And the next time, I'll be like, "What? It's just Dumbo." It's really
Sure.
my state of mind when I watch the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff.
It's Coco, the new one. There's been many
I
before, but
did
yeah, I'll go
cry
with
That
in
was
that
good.
one.
I think we were all pretty
Yeah.
weepy. We went and saw it while we were visiting my grandmother, who was she was passing away at the time.
Oh,
I thought it was after she had already passed away.
Had she-
We
had she
were
died?
we were there for the funeral.
Oh,
and
was
we
it the
went and
funeral?
saw
Oh,
Coco.
okay. I thought it
Yeah.
was. I thought it was that. It was connected to that
Yeah.
anyway. So
it was
that
either
was
the weekend she died or the weekend we went for the
yeah.
funeral.
We
I think it
were
was the funeral.
we were not in the best the best frame of mind.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
a movie
we
about
were all very
your,
emotional.
your dead ancestors.
Right,
and
exactly.
We're there about a dead
It's
ancestor.
about a dead
It was-
ancestor. Yeah.
yeah.
But
That's okay.
but yeah, so that was a pretty good one. I think the one that consistently makes me choke up is It's a Wonderful Life.
yeah.
I think
it
that's
does
the
do
one.
that.
It's just like, and how many times have you seen that frickin' movie? and
Yeah, I
the ending still gets to you.
Zuzu's pedals.
Yeah.
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 I don't even think it's Zuzu's pedals. It's just like it's the people.
Yeah,
It's all of the
in the
people
very end
coming in
scene.
and
Yeah.
My
like
brother are the most
and
popular.
Yeah.
supporting him is amazing.
The richest
Yeah.
man in town. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
richest man in
It's
town.
exactly the kind of support we all hope we would get
Yeah.
Yeah.
if we needed it.
Yeah. This one's tough too. These categories were really
Yeah, it
tough.
was. Jeez.
Favorite 1980s movie. And I had a real hard time with this, but I finally came down with Ghostbusters.
Oh.
It was, for me, it came down to between Ghostbusters and Back to the Future. I was
Gotcha.
trying to remember like which
Yeah.
I felt like had the biggest impact.
Yeah.
So
I feel yeah, it's a tough call. What was yours, Jeff?
I put down, even though it was tough, I had so many in my mind. I put down Big Trouble in Little China.
Okay. See,
Jack
when
Burke.
I think of that category,
Mhm.
and Big Trouble in Little China is definitely evocative of the 80s.
Yeah.
When I think of that category, I just kind of think of things that were just like very
I feel like
typically
yours would be Ferris Bueller.
1980s. Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that's probably where I have to go. But looking at like John Hughes stuff, like The Breakfast Club just had the anniversary of the day it was supposed to have taken place on. That was like 2 days ago, and things. Of course, we grew up in the 80s, and we were like teenagers during that time, and so most of the movies were sort of aimed at us. Things like Ferris Bueller and things like The Breakfast Club and
So
and that
Mella's
kind of stuff.
playing along, and she says Princess Bride.
Princess Bride, yeah.
Yes,
See,
and her crying movie is Toy Story 3.
and my thing is that like I'll look at Princess Bride and I'll look at Back to the Future and I'll look at things like
Yeah.
that. I really see those films as more timeless films.
So for me, the reason why I chose Ghostbusters
Mhm.
is because when I think about the movie Ghostbusters, I think about being where I was
Where you
at
were
the
in
time
the
it came
80s.
out.
Yeah.
So I
Sure.
think about the song being on the radio all the time. I think about the fact that I lived in San Diego that summer that it was out, and I just get flashbacks of kind of walking down the street and hearing
Yeah.
it playing out of cars that were driving by.
Right.
So
Yeah,
That's
and
why
it
for
does
me.
evoke the time period. I think a lot of those things, like Princess Bride for me, does have a very 80s vibe to it, but it also it's just kind of like a timeless movie to
Yeah.
me. It is superseded its decade. Whereas like
well, and it
like
might fall into the next category.
Ferris Bueller is very much in its decade. And
Yeah.
Breakfast
It
Club
is.
is very
Breakfast
much
Club-
in its decade. It
I
stays
feel like
there.
when I saw Breakfast Club, it didn't have as big an impact on me as St. Elmo's Fire did.
Oh. Well, you weren't in detention a lot.
I was not in detention ever. So, as I pointed out to someone on a chat group the other day, I did in fact get threatened by the police once to be taken away if I didn't stop what I was doing. But that was
Oh.
like the biggest trouble I got in.
The thing about the
high
Breakfast
school.
Club is that it is that collection of people is very indicative of the type of people I hung out with because
So-
I didn't click up really in high school.
Okay, so we've got from the chat, we've got Princess Bride, Blade Runner, Breakfast Club, and Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Nice.
Next category is favorite comedy. And I decided on Young Frankenstein.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you choose, Jeff?
It was a tough one. Because it was really between Three Amigos and what I picked, which was Blazing Saddles. So
I think Blazing
Yeah.
Saddles is the better choice, honestly.
Yeah, Blazing Saddles is good, and my brain went to both of those, both to Young Frankenstein and to Blazing Saddles, but I think I'm gonna go with Airplane.
Oh, there you go.
Good
Just
choice. Yeah.
because it's like I quote it all the time. I quote the other two also, but Airplane was just such a oddball standout kind of thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
I also
Those are
was
first.
thinking if it wasn't Young Frankenstein, it would have been Some Like It Hot.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But Young Frankenstein, I have when I have pictures up at work, we're at a temporary location right now, so well, I'm at a super temporary location right now.
That's exactly
But
true.
at work, I have a Young Frankenstein poster, and so I was like, okay,
Which she
and
stole
There you
from
go.
me.
quote, I did steal it from you.
Yeah.
But I quoted a lot too.
Yeah.
Favorite sports movie, and honestly, I was gonna take this
is
one
tough.
out because I was like, what kind of favorite sports movies are we gonna have? And then Jeff came up with one.
Yeah.
So then I went and looked up sports movies.
Oh, cheater.
Thinking, how am I going to find a sports movie? Maybe that one about the horse. And then I realized A League of Their Own, duh,
Yes, it's a
is
total
sports
sports
movie.
That one
Totally.
about the horse that describes so many films.
Yes. Well, the
what?
horse is running.
Yes, that describes so many films.
Whatever.
All right. So Colleen's was League of Their Own, which is a brilliant sports movie. What was yours, Jeff?
It was not really an easy choice because I mean there were things running around in my head. I'm like, maybe no, maybe not. So I just went with the original film, The Longest Yard.
Longest
Burt
Yard.
Reynolds.
Yeah,
Isn't that? Oh, that's not the one with the donkey that kicks
that's Gus.
football. Oh, sorry.
That's very, very different. Yeah, Gus the mule. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a Disney film, isn't it?
it totally is.
Oh my
But
god.
Jeff likes Disney films. I don't
Yeah.
know.
There you go.
yeah,
That would
okay.
have
Sean, what do you
should
have?
have thought about it.
I don't know. I didn't have this category earlier. We didn't go through the entire quiz when you and I talked about
Right,
it.
but I did
we
tell you I
stopped.
was writing it in the thing.
Yeah, and I had to
Yeah.
look at it. Sports movie. I am not a sports guy at all.
Yeah.
What do I like? I like Grand Prix. Is a
Clearly,
good one.
I'm a
Racing,
sports person.
auto racing. Does
Oh.
Speed Racer count?
Oh, or I was gonna say the Great Race.
The Great Race. Yeah.
Wow,
If
that is car racing.
if it's
yeah.
it counts
so now
as
you
a
have to
sports
choose between
movie.
the Great Race and Speed Racer.
Oh no, the Great Race.
Okay.
Great.
The
I
Great
love
Race.
I love Speed Racer, but the Great Race is more about the spirit of the competition than
Okay, so
Speed Racer is.
I have to go back a category now because from the chat we have
Yeah.
favorite comedies.
Yeah.
We've got Airplane, Young Frankenstein, and
Yeah.
Clue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Clue is a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
I would love to
And
do
then-
Clue as a play.
Oh, that'd be
That
fun.
would be so great.
Favorite sports movie? We've got Field of Dreams, which is a good one,
That's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
and Chariots of Fire, which I
Oh.
wouldn't have thought of
Mhm.
as, but of course it's about football.
It's
Yeah.
about
The
guys
Olympics.
who run.
Yeah.
It's the guys who run
Yep.
on the
Right.
beach with
Right.
horses.
With horses.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
There's an old one
that's
with
funny.
soccer that I saw. That was
Jeff
good. I
wins
can't
the
remember
next
name.
category.
Heroes
by the
was
way.
the one with soccer, wasn't it? With
It
still.
was with Pele.
Oh, with Pele.
the
No,
one-
no, no.
yeah,
There was
Pele was
there
in it.
was
It's
one I
another one.
thought
Pele
with
was like a volcano.
World War II movie.
Oh, that's Etna.
Oh, World War II.
Not
There was
Pele?
one that was Henry Winkler, I think, and Sylvester Stallone. Or
All right, for
something.
those of you online, while they're trying to figure this out, the next one is favorite courtroom movie. So
Yes.
think about that one because it's a really hard category to get, and I'm gonna have to say that Jeff wins this one. Can I move on to courtroom movie, or are you guys still
No, go ahead.
discussing?
What's the category?
favorite courtroom movie?
Favorite courtroom
Yes.
Yeah.
drama.
So I was gonna say either Adam's Rib or To Kill a Mockingbird,
Okay.
but then I saw Jeff's answer, and Jeff wins this category. Nobody can come up
Oh,
with
man.
anything better. Go, Jeff.
Is it
It's the
Miracle on
original.
34th Street?
Yes.
It is Miracle on 34th Street.
Nice.
Yeah.
But what now? You have to pick a different Christmas movie, I imagine.
Me?
That one.
That's not my
Is that even
Christmas
on here?
movie.
Oh, that's that is on here. but
No,
yeah,
well,
that's
Jeff
not
will
mine.
have used that because there's no repeats, right?
No, yeah, but Jeff
No.
did pick a different Christmas
Oh,
movie.
okay.
Yes, I
Yeah.
did.
He filled
Gosh.
everything out.
No, that's a really, really good poll. That has some of the best
Oh, Eric came up with a good
court scenes in it.
scene.
And
So backtracking, we've got a sports movie that is Any Given Sunday,
Mhm.
which is like about church, right? Because that's what people do on Sundays.
football.
Football. Okay.
Football. You could have had.
I could have had that one.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Football. Wildcats.
Wildcats. I
man.
did like a football
Yeah.
movie.
Well, and that
Wow.
all. Don't forget that there's stuff like the Bad News Bears, and,
And
there's
I
like all
Yeah,
that.
I
the
totally forgot
woman
about
who
those
was
too,
in
man.
the teenager who was in that as the teenage girl was the one who we saw on TV the other night. That was the wife in Twin Peaks.
Oh right.
That I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I recognized that woman, and it was like 30 years later, and I
Wow.
recognized her.
That's
It was
pretty funny.
Wow.
Okay, so sports courtroom. Did you do your courtroom?
I excuse me, did not do a
Oh, boy.
courtroom film. I'm trying to remember what a good courtroom film would
from
be.
the chat, we've got Clarence
My
Darrow
cousin-
and my cousin Vinny,
Yeah, My Cousin Vinny's a
and a
pretty
few good men,
courtroom movie.
and
Yeah.
A Time to Kill.
I think I prefer my courtroom movies funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe My Cousin Vinny
Okay.
would
You say
probably
Ute?
probably have to be it.
Okay.
The two Utes.
The next category, you would think I would have nothing to pull from in this category, and yet
Yeah.
I had to decide between two. And that is
Oh,
favorite.
I'm gonna change my courtroom movie.
Okay.
Chicago.
Oh,
it's got a
that
courtroom,
is good. Jeff still wins.
Yeah, Jeff still wins. But
And,
Chicago.
And there are also 12 Angry Men.
Oh yeah, but everybody
There
knows
are
12
also
Angry Men.
12 Angry Men. I like how that was phrased. The next one is favorite horror movie. And
Yes.
I am not a horror fan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I first saw horror movie, I'm like, I'm not going to pick anything
Well, but
from here.
unless there's another category that already has this, you can take horror and interchange it with suspense.
Oh, so
because-
the scissor movie.
Yeah, so if there's no category for suspense, you have to count that.
Jeff, do you know what I mean by the scissor movie?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember the name of it, but
Dead
Sean
Again.
knows what Dead Again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I chose for favorite horror movie, I chose Poltergeist.
Yeah, that's a
And
a
I
good
was-
one.
I was up there with Cabin in the Woods because
Yeah,
I
no,
ended
that
up
was a tough
liking
one.
that
That was a
a
good
lot.
one. That was a
But
good one.
Poltergeist is still better.
Hmm.
And I saw
Gotcha.
that in the theater.
All right, what'd you come up with, Jeff?
Well, mine is about a cabin in the woods.
No, it is.
Evil Dead. So
Evil Dead. So you're going
Yes.
funny horror.
pretty much, yeah.
I worked.
Sean, there is one on the chat that you would maybe pick as yours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. Night of the Living Dead.
No?
No.
Little Shop of
Well,
Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah. Not
Yeah,
really.
technically, yeah.
I don't know if I would choose that as I would call that a
I
horror
like it.
movie.
I like it a lot. And I assume you're going early 1960s black and white Roger Corman version, as opposed to the musical, which I did like. I worked on a few horror movies. I worked on. I did a Nightmare on Elm Street. I did a Friday the 13th, and I did Christine, the movie Christine.
Oh, you probably
and
like Christine.
and those are all like really good ones too.
Yeah.
But out of those, I kind of, just from sheer like creativity and weirdness and just anticipatory wigging out, I think I would have to go with Nightmare on Elm Street. I think for that.
Gotcha.
It's just because it's you never quite know what's coming, and I'm a big fan of those movies that make you yell at the screen. Don't do that, you stupid idiot! And that's definitely one of those series of films.
From the chat, we've got Crimson Peak, which I thought was a TV show.
No.
No, Crimson Peak was a movie.
Guillermo del Toro flick.
Crimson Peak, Little Shop of Horrors, Rope. I think Kit is saying a horror movie called Rope.
Yeah, it's a Hitchcock film.
Oh. The original Night of the Living Dead and Hellraiser.
Yeah, Hellraiser was pretty good. I also have a very soft spot for Dawn of the Dead.
I know her.
Because it took place in the mall, that we used to go to when I was a very young kid, and like when your parents
That mall is gone.
probably, yeah, when you would take your kid to go sit on Santa's lap.
Yeah.
This is where they would take us. This was in Lancaster, PA.
Oh,
Gotcha.
I'm sorry. No, I thought you were talking about a mall out here.
No,
But
no. This was in Pennsylvania. Could be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't know.
But yeah, it was because and honestly, it took me so long to figure that out because I'm sitting there and I'm watching. We used to go to the midnight shows in high school, and so we'd
Yeah.
go to the Oaks Mall and we would sit and we would do Rocky Horror like one night. We would do like a horror movie the next night, and they would show Dawn of the Dead, and so we'd go in and we'd have a popcorn and we'd freak out over the movie. And I'm watching this movie and I am so pulled out of the story because I'm like, where is that place? I know
been
that
there.
place. Where is it? And then they
It
showed.
makes me feel warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, it's like why I like why do I like that place? And then they showed this like clock tower they had, which was it's a small world. It had that same kind of vibe to it, sort of gold and white, a clock and a
Yeah.
thing. And I saw that and I'm like, holy crap, that's that mall that
That's
we used to go to
fun.
when I was really really
I love
young.
it when things like that come together
Yeah.
and you recognize things.
That's super cool.
Moving on. Most overrated movie.
Oh, most overrated movie.
And I'm gonna go with La La Land, even though I really liked the opening sequence.
The music's good.
Yeah,
To La
the
La
music's
Land.
good,
Yeah.
but like so.
But the
and
hype
the
was-
reason why I have to is to say that it's most overrated is because people in Hollywood kept telling me that I just didn't understand
You're right.
why
Yeah.
it was such a good movie,
You don't
and I'm
get it,
like,
man.
No.
you're
no,
full of crap. It's not a good movie.
Boo.
And people kept calling the actors in it triple threats, and I'm like,
But they
could you
can't
just
really
look up
dance.
the term triple threat
Do you know what
and
that means?
tell me those people are actually triple
Yes.
threats? They are not.
But in
Yeah.
that West Side Story way, where they got people who were like not amazing to be in West Side Story, which was like part of it, where it's like these are just like kids singing and dancing. There
Yeah.
were a couple really good ones, and then the rest of them were just like normal things. It was kind of nice that like La La Land wasn't uber professional singer things, but the hype surrounding it was certainly not warranted at all.
Yeah.
It was not
I
warranted.
also
at all.
have to say there is a movie that has Ernest Borgnine in it that was an Academy Award winner from
1959, I think it was Marty.
Marty. Yes, I find that to be a highly overrated movie. Just like either marry her or not, you stupid butcher.
Well, I think in terms
He was literally a butcher.
I
He
think
didn't-
in terms of
wasn't a horror
he
film.
didn't kill people. In terms of like a very dramatic film for the time period, I think it was good. I also think it may have been, and I'd have to look this up online, may have been a weak year for the Oscars, but
there was actually another picture that was up for Best Picture that I think was better, but I can't remember what it was.
But you never know. And for Ernest Borgnine, it may have just been this full tour de force that
Right.
nobody, no one expected from him.
My problem with this category is the more it's like Eric said, I can't pick one, too many choices, because the more I think about it, the more annoyed I am with more movies.
Sure.
So I'm going to stop talking about it. Jeff, I very much agree with your choice.
Yeah. Mine is Avatar. So,
Avatar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am not a
Yeah.
fan of Avatar.
Yeah, that was the top of my list. Was Avatar.
Is
'Cause
that what you're choosing,
I
Avatar?
enjoyed it. I just didn't.
I didn't even. I mean, it was pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but I don't think it deserves like
Yeah.
4 or 5 more sequels.
No. And an amusement park.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but
Well,
the
the land is
amusement
actually
park is
really
kind of
cool.
okay. I can get
Yeah.
behind that. And you
Yeah.
said it was
Well-
great, Jeff?
The land is really cool. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
land is better than the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, so I can kind of
opinion,
get
yeah.
I can
Yes, it
get
is.
behind that, which is cool. But I don't know. I think that and these are movies that I'm only peripherally familiar with. I think the hype behind the Twilight movies just got really overbearing.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like too much. And I sat down and I tried to watch one. I thought, well, okay, I'm not going to bash on these things without understanding them. And I sat and I just couldn't hack it.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh my God, this is so
Well,
awful.
fan fiction made into movie.
True.
Right.
From the chat, we have Titanic, Gone with the Wind, Frozen, and Terms of Endearment.
I knew Frozen was coming up. These are the ones that are.
I have to say that I thought Titanic was going to be awful.
Yeah.
And I was just going to see the costumes. And when I came out, I was like, oh my God, I forgot to look at the costumes. Because, not because the story of Jack and Rose was so amazing, but because the tiny little details that they got right in that movie was mind-blowing to me. Just like how closely they got the actors to look like the historical figures. And we're sitting there watching the movie for the first time, and Sean turns, like, whispers in my ear, oh, if they turn down that hallway, and they go through that door, they'll be in the gym. And they open the door and step into the gym. I was like, man.
Yeah, the attention to detail was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And I've always been a huge fan of the Titanic. In fact, we just we're doing a Titanic thing at Costume College. I made a menu to look as old as possible. This is like our proofread copy. But, recreated the logos and did all that kind of stuff. I absolutely love the Titanic stuff.
The dialogue was, in fact, bad. But
the
fact
ship
that
and the costumes and the etiquette and
the photo of Reverend John Brown. Father Brown. And the little boy playing with the top, and they had that just as a throwaway in the background. I was like, oh, man, that was good.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite gangster movie? Hands down, nothing else will top this. Nobody else wins, including Sean, and I know what he's going to choose. Bugsy Malone.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
It also has really good music.
Yes,
and really good costumes.
Right.
And custard guns.
And it's only mildly uncomfortable that tiny little teeny bopper girls are pretending to be adults.
Yeah, that's kind of icky.
That's the squidgy bit.
Yeah.
That only comes with age. As you get older, it's like...
Right. But I was 10 when it came out?
If you were
11.
a kid and you're watching it, you're like, oh, yay, that's really fun. If you're an adult, you're just kind of like, oh...
Not so much. Jeff.
Mine was that I could really think of because I've seen a lot of gangster movies, and I'm not really, and not really on purpose. It was like, we're gonna watch this. I'm like, do we have to? And so I'm not really a fan of them. So that's why there's a question mark. But I actually liked Dick Tracy, but there are lots of gangsters in it, so I'm like, that's a gangster movie, sure.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
What did you think I was going to choose?
Johnny Dangerously.
Oh, yeah.
Totally
Is that not what you're going to choose?
Oh my God.
No. No.
That's it. I need a divorce.
I love Johnny Dangerously.
He loves Johnny Dangerously a lot.
I worked on Johnny Dangerously. It was totally cool. No, actually, for is there a separate noir category?
There isn't.
There
and
isn't.
I'm sitting here thinking there really should be.
Right,
a noir
so I'm kind of
category.
lumping noir in there.
Okay.
And I think I really have to go with the Maltese Falcon.
Honestly, there's no place to put Casablanca. In here,
right?
So
because it's not a gangster, and it's not a
but
noir
Maltese Falcon,
picture.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
You don't have to sleep outside or anything.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And what do we have from
really
the,
appreciated,
from the
sweetheart.
gallery? We've got Godfather, Bugsy Malone, Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
And Bugsy Malone is the best movie of all of those, so of course you still like it.
Are you saying that Goodfellas is not a good enough picture for you?
Does Goodfellas have Paul Williams singing the soundtrack?
No,
it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
And does it have
1920s
1920s cars driven by kids because they're bicycles?
Because they're pedal cars, yeah.
So awesome. Does it have Fat Sam? No.
No, does not have custard guns.
I mean...
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And it does not have Scott Baio, who's gotten weird in his old age.
Okay, well, I didn't even like Scott Baio at the time, but movie you can watch over and over. honestly,
Oh,
I watch every movie
any
like
movie
90
that we've
times.
talked about on our list.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so this is a silly category.
How many times did you watch, what was it,
Blast from the
Blazing
Past?
Saddles in
Oh,
one
Blazing
weekend?
Saddles.
Good God.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
12, 13
Yeah.
times. My parents took me to Vegas when I was 12, but there was 12 or 13. There was no no, it had to be younger than that. 10 maybe.
Yeah.
9. There was nothing for kids
7,
to do back
6.
then unless no, it was 9 cuz my brother was in Michigan.
Okay.
There was nothing to do back then except Circus Circus. And they take you to Circus Circus once and then
You're done.
you're done, and the rest of the time you're either in the room and they order you a pizza or you're at the pool. There's nothing else to do. So
Order us a pizza.
yeah,
You want to order
they
us
had
a pizza.
Blazing Saddles was on HBO.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's pretty funny.
but I will also have to say that I have watched Blast from the Past. And what is the name of Tapaka?
The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Okay, Blast from the Past, Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and the Thin Man movies.
Yeah.
Like probably hundreds of times because whenever I can't sleep, I put one of those on, and it helps soothe me into sleep.
Yeah.
What's yours, Jeff?
Man, I had a long list of movies that I watch over and over again, but Star Wars was one of them. But it was actually The Great Escape, which
And
if
The
I have a
Great
chance to see it, I
Escape
watch it.
Whenever you get a chance to see it, you watch it.
Yeah, pretty much.
It is such a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my story about The Great Escape is that I wanted to understand the movie Chicken Run that was coming out. I was like, I need to understand the reference that, why Chicken Run is supposed to be good. So I watched The Great Escape, which is such a good movie that I was like, Chicken Run sucks.
Right. It's like
Why did I bother watching Chicken Run?
It's probably one of those things where if there's distance between you and the source material it's making fun of, it's better. But if you had just recently seen it, you're like, oh my gosh.
I watched Great Escape for the first time literally days before I watched Chicken Run.
Yeah.
So basically what we did with Mary Poppins.
Yes, but that was a mistake. So
right.
I didn't mean to do that.
Colleen thought she had seen Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
And then it turned out she hadn't seen Mary
Very good.
Poppins. That's funny.
Sean?
Oh gosh, there's a lot of movies.
You pretty much you'd have to say Star Wars or Rocky Horror Picture Show, really.
Right. Well, and I'll tell you, I have seen.
Oh, good one, Boba.
I have seen both of those movies in a theater. Rocky almost 400 times. Star Wars more than 400 times.
That's insane.
Yeah, and it's because I
don't think I've been in a movie theater that many times.
But when we when we did the Rocky Horror Picture Show through high school and college every weekend. Those numbers mount up, and because we were in the seats, we were in the cast, we were doing all that kind of stuff, and it's like you've seen the movie enough when you've memorized every single piece of dialogue, and in the case of Rocky Horror, all of the snide little comments that take place in between the dialogue. So it's probably a tie for those two movies for me.
All right, so we've got Thor Ragnarok, Dangerous Beauty, Tom Jones, Star Wars, The Avengers, and Bringing Up Baby and White Christmas, those are all great.
Yeah. We've watched White Christmas a lot in this house.
Yeah.
Yes, and Bringing Up
not
Baby.
to be
Well,
confused
I've
with
watched
Holiday
Bringing Up
Inn,
Baby
which
Holiday Inn is not good.
was not as
in my
good.
opinion.
Right.
But White Christmas,
yes,
not so much. Yeah.
excellent.
That's funny.
Movie with the best soundtrack. I'm going with "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," because I like things in the 1930s.
Yeah.
Old timey.
They're not even old timey. Jeff?
Best soundtrack.
Boy, it was a tough one, really, but it's because probably because I love it so much that that whenever I do pass away, it's going to play at my funeral. Is the Rocketeer.
Right.
Just
You like the
hands down
main
for me.
theme from The Rocketeer.
The main theme and the rest of it as well.
Which
but,
was James Horner. It is, as
Yes.
far as an encapsulated soundtrack, it's really amazing because not only does it have great James Horner music in it,
Yes.
it's also got like Begin the Begin and
Yes.
and things like that. It's got good like 1940s music stuffed in there too. I'm trying to think of the soundtracks I play a lot, and I'm not talking about my radio show, which I play lots and lots and lots of soundtracks. I'm going to split this category. Best
Oh.
orchestral score
Oh.
is The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
The best overall musical score that like album is probably Back to the Future.
Mm.
What about The Incredibles?
The Incredibles is really good, and I love that one a lot. And it's probably Michael Giacchino's best score, in my opinion, that he's
Yeah.
done. And there are other ones
Back
where
to the Future is really good.
it's really good, and
Yeah.
it's got pop music in it. It's got orchestral music in it, and the thing that was a tough call. So the movie Highlander
Highlander,
that came out.
yeah.
So Highlander, Queen did the music for this, and I love
Yep.
that soundtrack so much. I have
Exactly.
destroyed several vinyl records, a bunch of cassette tapes, and a few CDs. And thank goodness for MP3s. I haven't destroyed anything since we got MP3s in 1994. But I'd gone through so many copies of that soundtrack because I just wore it out.
Yeah.
And do you know how hard it is to wear out a CD? You have to play it a lot
Yeah.
Or leave it in
geez,
the
yeah.
sun.
to kill it. And oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I mean from sheer playthroughs, I mean it's probably that. But I really like the Star Wars soundtrack for orchestral music.
Yeah.
And we play a lot of it when we do our parades and stuff as a 501st and things like that. And I really like the Back to the Future score.
Yeah.
And pop
I
music.
actually would have to say that I like Back to the Future 3 score because I like that little.
You like the cowboy
I like the
Double back.
what are those?
ZZ Top?
Yeah, the ZZ Top thing, but also the little do tone that they play. I'm not good
Right.
at it.
Diddly, diddly. That little
Yeah.
little thing.
From the chat, we've got Flash Gordon,
Mhm.
Wrath of Khan, Highlander, Help, Empire Strikes Back, and Superfly.
Yeah.
Superfly.
Yeah. And
That's
there's an awful lot of
interesting.
musicals too that you could probably lump into that category.
I mean, there's a ton.
Yeah, so yeah.
Well, and then there's like a total cheat when you do something like Ready Player One, which is like, look, it's all the music that I went to high school with.
Yeah.
So are you talking about this,
And
Colleen?
Kiss Me, Kate. Am I talking about?
Oh yeah.
This little start.
I know what it
thing?
is.
Yeah.
That
Is that
thing?
in all of
It's-
them?
Chimes.
It's in Back to the Future 2 and 3.
Oh.
They
Yeah.
start with the little chime thing as a
Yeah.
time, and it's in the first one, but I don't think it starts the movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Movie you're most embarrassed you love.
Oh,
I'm
interesting.
I chose Independence Day. And how I did this
Oh,
was I
why?
went and looked at all our CDs until I found one that I had been
Oh,
like, okay. But I love Independence Day so much. I love to sew while Independence Day is on. Things are blowing
Gosh.
up. I'm ripping seams. It's all good.
Hmm.
Jeff?
Well, yeah. I mean, this was a difficult one to figure out because I was like, "What are you embarrassed by?" I'm like, I don't know if I'm really embarrassed with any movie I watch, but but I guess because it's something that's more for like aimed more at little girls or something. But is Frozen.
oh,
Like,
okay.
and for that matter, the second one as well.
Haven't seen
yeah.
the second one yet, although it's on our list, and we'll get to
And
Yeah,
it.
it's on Plus.
Disney Plus.
Get to it
so-
eventually. Actually, Jeff, we're not watching many movies because we are going through your collection of Ellery Queen shows.
Oh, all right. I was wondering when that would start happening. Jeez.
But let's see. I'm trying to think if there's a movie that I'm embarrassed to like.
Yeah, that was a hard one.
I'm honestly sort of categorizing it as like a guilty pleasure kind
Yeah,
of
guilty
kind of
pleasure,
a
I
deal.
Well, that's Independence Day for me as a guilty
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah, gosh. I'm trying to think.
You want me to... Oh, we only have one from the chat so far. Come on, people. Think about your guilty pleasures.
Kiss Me Kate.
I mean, like
No, I think
Hudson
Kiss Me
Hawk
Kate
or
was in the
something,
last
Oh.
category.
Um,
Camelot is the only one we have.
what movie do I really like that's just awful?
Rocky Horror Picture Show is pretty bad.
It is pretty bad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's not about the movie, it's about the
about the
experience.
experience.
when you
Yeah, it's
go
like
there,
Mystery
yeah.
Science Theater. It's like I love all
Right.
those, but the movies are terrible.
There must be one, but I guess the only one that immediately comes to mind is maybe like Flash Gordon in the 1980s. Flash Gordon.
Really?
Flash
I
Gordon
love
makes
that movie.
sense.
Yeah. Although I know a lot of people who also don't like Highlander, and I really like Highlander.
See, now that doesn't make sense because the first Highlander movie was really good, but if
I
you're
think
if
it
you're
was,
saying
but-
the second Highlander movie that you like that can be a guilty pleasure because that was not good.
No, that was not good.
Yeah.
I don't like that one.
Yeah.
We've
It's like Rocket Ship XM. I kind of like that movie, even though it's terrible.
Right.
So we've got it could be like
Amazon Women on
yeah.
the Moon.
I really like Amazon Women on the Moon.
So do I, but it's a terrible
Plan 9
movie.
from Outer Space, that could be a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Or like Power Rangers. If somebody was into Power Rangers,
Sure, yeah.
that would be a guilty pleasure. So Camelot, Earth versus the Flying Saucers, and Gone in 60 Seconds.
Oh, Gone in 60
Oh,
Seconds.
I don't even know
man.
what that is.
It is a movie that
Wow.
exists just to crash cars.
Yeah, pretty much. Either
What's that
version.
movie where you
Jeez.
get points if you run people over?
Death Race.
2000.
Death Race.
Yeah.
2000.
Oh, yeah, that one too.
Yeah.
Yes.
What? Speed Racer? No, that was a great movie.
No, Speed Racer came out on my birthday. It was the best birthday present the Wachowskis ever could have given me.
Yeah,
That was a
Speed
great
Racer
movie.
was the art design, the set design,
The
in
production design,
that
yeah.
was so freaking amazing.
The
And
casting
also,
was perfect.
of sports movies. When I went to see this, I went to see it only because Sean said he really wanted to see it, and my company
And your
we went with my
company took everybody,
Yeah.
which was really great.
But we go to see it, and I'm like, oh no, it's the stupid Star Wars pod races again. I'm going to be so bored. This whole
Colleen
movie
hated
is
the
filled
pod
with
races.
car races. And every single car race that had in that movie, and there were 3, were really good and kept my attention the entire time.
There
Which
were
was
some
shocking.
nail biter kind of moments in there.
Yeah.
It was good. It was perfectly cast, and it didn't pander to its audience, and for me, in my opinion, and it's not like I've seen lots of these types of movies, it is the best sort of animate a live action translation.
Yeah, they did a really good
yeah,
job.
totally.
Yeah.
So
I was surprisingly impressed with that one. We have 3 left.
okay.
The
Oh.
one person says
Thunderbirds
movie is a guilty pleasure. I will take
Oh, no.
Thunderbirds as a guilty
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah.
But now we're moving on to an easier one, and that
Yeah.
is favorite Christmas movie.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Mine is The Holiday.
Wow.
Who is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
which
really
has
like The
has
Holiday.
replaced It's a Wonderful Life.
No,
Well, she already used
It's
it
a Wonderful
once.
Life is my favorite movie.
I see. Okay.
My favorite Christmas movie
Favorite Christmas movie.
is The Holiday. And my favorite courtroom movie is Miracle on 34th Street.
It's
Jeff.
beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Jeff has a good. I mean, Christmas movies are good. So
They're good.
go ahead, Jeff. What's
Yeah.
your favorite?
Mine is, and always has been, I think, A Christmas Story.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say that tops my list.
So that's yours
Christmas
too,
Story,
Christmas
yeah.
Story.
Mhm.
So we've
Such-
only
such a
got
fun movie.
one selection, which is 2 people chose it, and that is White Christmas, which somebody had
Oh,
as
there you go.
their. Somebody had earlier as a
Yeah.
different pick.
Yeah, we talked about
Yeah.
White Christmas earlier.
Serena loves that movie, White Christmas.
White Christmas is
She
really
is-
good.
Well,
Nuts for it.
we went and
Was it
saw it
soundtrack?
dressed in old timey clothes.
yeah, we
and
went and saw it in 1950s.
we
clothes
saw it
and
in a theater on
1950s theater.
Broadway in downtown LA, in an
Aw,
old
That's
theater,
awesome.
the Los Angeles Theater. It was really great. It was a really neat event.
That's cool.
I don't even think it was that
also,
expensive.
People have chosen Home Alone and Die Hard and a third call for White Christmas. I feel like one of the people who said White Christmas is the same person who had White Christmas earlier, and you can't have a movie twice.
Mm.
Yeah.
but I can't find it now in the thread.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, Die Hard. Die Hard's good, but it also fits into the action category. So
Oh,
Yeah.
two diehards.
definitely
But there
a
was
good
no
Christmas
action
movie.
category here.
I know.
Yeah. I
So
know.
What's wrong with that? Who
Yeah.
made this quiz?
I have no
Yeah.
idea. I just know who's. I pulled it off of an actor I know.
Yeah.
His thing, not
Well,
a famous actor.
Actors are wildly
A mocap actor. So
unreliable.
there's only one
Oh,
famous
man,
mocap
jeez, who
actor,
could
and it was
be?
not him.
Yeah, I guess there's
Andy Serkis is like the famous mocap actor.
Well, it depends.
And then
Like TJ, people know
Storm
who
and
TJ
Richard
is.
Dorton are like the next two.
Like they're the next tier
Yeah.
down. Yeah.
And they both played Godzilla.
I
so.
do love the picture that surfaced recently of Star Wars Episode 8, where Snoke is in pieces on the floor, and Andy is on his knees with his arms spread, making a horrible face to the heavens. Like, "No!" It's like kind of awesome.
All right. Favorite sequel, and
Yeah.
I chose Back to the Future 3.
That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Because
is.
I almost chose Back to the Future 3 as my favorite Western. But I have
Yeah.
another favorite Western, so I was like struggling with it, and then I went, oh, I can choose that as my sequel. So, Jeff?
Yeah. The obvious was Empire Strikes Back, and I was like, I didn't want to be obvious. So, I went with Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Ah, good one.
Yeah.
That's a good
I
one.
actually like that a lot.
That's the third
That's,
one?
Yes.
The Alfonso
I-
Cuarón one? That's like the
That's
best
the
one.
best one.
Yeah.
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 Oh, gosh. I keep thinking, discounting The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
like-
Empire Strikes Back going on
There's
Yeah,
a lot of
I-
good
in the
sequels.
chat.
And
you know.
which is
Wrath of
great.
Khan,
I
jeez.
keep thinking that there are other sequels that are better than the original.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
so maybe Wrath of Khan,
Yeah.
which was
Oh,
just
Wrath of Khan.
so much better
Better
than the movie that
first one.
preceded
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Road Warrior.
And that's so rare. It's just so
Yeah.
rarely had. And then Star Trek 3 was just kind of meh.
4 people chose Empire Strikes Back. Budala said Pink Panther, and yet, which Pink Panther?
Well, no, Pink Panther is a sequel to A Shot in the
Shot
Dark.
in the Dark, right?
Yeah, so it is a sequel, even though
I
it
just
sounds
didn't-
like the first film.
I was thinking that I knew that Shot in the Dark was the first one,
Mm-hmm.
but I was thinking that all of the Pink Panther movies were like Pink Panther something.
No,
But
the
the
very first one was A Shot in
was-
the Dark.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we missed TKD S66 had to wait, somebody I don't know, chose Hook as their Christmas movie, I think.
Oh, okay. And also Last Crusade is their
and
sequel.
Last Crusade is their sequel.
Yeah.
Okay, good
Gotcha.
sequel.
Good sequel.
Yeah. And then the last category is favorite Western, and
Yeah.
I chose Silverado.
Yeah.
Jeff?
I like that one too. Yeah. I tried not to like do the same as you or Sean might have already put down, but so I was
Yeah.
like, that's why they're different each time. So I chose Tombstone,
Okay.
Kurt Russell.
Yeah, Silverado has so much going for it.
Yeah.
Um,
I love Silverado too. Yeah.
Silverado is probably my favorite serious Western. I'm gonna have to throw Blazing Saddles on that pile.
Yeah.
I think
Blazing Saddles is a good choice.
just because but Silverado and the music from Bruce Broughton is really good. The cast is insane, and it's very rare these days, like in the last couple decades, that we get one of those movies. It's just like stars aplenty, kind of a deal. And even some of them were like people before they got to be big stars. Like Costner, nobody really knew that well when Silverado came out and things like that. And
Because the only movie he'd been on, he got cut out of.
right, which was The Big Chill.
Yeah.
And then, but it had Jeff Goldblum in it,
Yeah.
which was really great, and in a weird role for him that we hadn't seen him in before. Even John Cleese was in it as a stodgy lawman. I mean, it's just such a good cast.
Movie.
Yeah, I really like that one.
The other one I would have thrown in there was like support your local sheriff.
Oh, that's a good
Which
one.
we just recently
That's
watched. Yeah.
Maverick too.
Yeah.
The Maverick film with Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mel
James
Gibson.
Garner and Mel Gibson. Oh,
Yeah.
but I hate Mel Gibson. So.
Yeah, Mel Gibson has worn out his welcome, I think, which is a bummer. He became such an awful, nasty person that it's hard to watch his movies now. Because I love stuff like The Road Warrior and like all the stuff that he did and Lethal Weapon, and like I have no desire to watch any of it ever again.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
I was like, yay, Maverick. Oh,
right.
Now I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay, so picking up on, I think we missed a sequel here. Batman Returns.
Yeah.
The sequel.
Pretty decent one.
Okay.
And then for Westerns, we've got Tombstone, Young Guns, Tombstone, Silverado, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Young Guns, and Support Your Local Sheriff.
Yeah.
Although there's also Support Your Local Gunfighter, which was the sequel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
That was
had
good in
Suzanne
my opinion,
Pleshette
but,
in it.
It did, which I think was an improvement over the woman who was in the first one. I don't know if she was playing the same character though.
No, it's a totally different story.
I mean, she was basically playing the same character, but I don't think that even the gunfighter, I don't think he was supposed to be the same person.
No.
It was just like the same movie.
Different character.
Right.
Just like switched out the actors as their characters around and stuff.
Now you realize that we're completely discounting the Apple Dumpling Gang.
Well, I mean, the Apple Dumpling Gang. That was well. Also, I think the earliest movie that anybody's talked about for westerns was Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which is a really good western.
Yes.
But
not a traditional western.
No, not
it
a
wasn't
traditional
like
western.
The Searchers
but
or
like
True Grit or Shane or something.
We haven't
like
talked
that.
about any of those, and honestly, I haven't seen that many old westerns.
I've seen a lot of old
Magnificent Seven.
westerns, and I really enjoy them. But
What was the one that
I think that something like Silverado distills the best of those into itself.
There's like a bunch of John Wayne ones that I like, and and such too. So
Well, and they are
Paint
also
Your Wagon.
right.
Yes, Paint Your Wagon,
with singing Clint
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood,
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
and Jimmy Stewart did a few too.
Seven
He
Brides for
actually-
Seven
and
Brothers.
Radio shows too. He did radio shows.
Well, the
too
radio
as well.
shows are great, and that's a completely different quiz because the six-shooter that
The
Jimmy
Six
Stewart
Shooter is
did was
amazing.
absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Gosh, favorite radio shows. That would be really hard because it would definitely favorite radio western would be the Six Shooter, but then
Now the
favorite
Lone
radio,
Ranger, man, is pretty good.
I'm a fan of the Six Shooter. But then
Cisco Kid.
For comedies, how do you choose between R. Miss Brooks and Jack Benny?
Oh man, or the Bickersons.
I don't like
don't
the
know.
Bickersons that much.
The problem
No? Oh man,
Not really.
the problem well, listening to people fight is like never fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot.
The other thing is frame of reference. It's like the movies. Not everybody's seen every movie. Old time radio shows is even harder because they're not of our generation.
But they're good.
They are good, but they're not of
Yes.
our generation. It's a tough,
Ooh, Rooster Cogburn.
tough call.
Hondo, why are we talking about Rebels?
We're not. Well, I'm Hondo Onaka.
So we used up the whole second half of the show talking about movies.
Well, that's okay.
but I think
Yeah,
we
it's
needed
a
it.
big
It's been a rough
things have
week.
been so stressful and kind of weird,
Yeah.
and it was nice to have something this participatory. I'm sorry that our video seems frozen,
Yeah.
or at least it does for
But
me.
it was really fun having everybody participate in the chat. That was
right.
super fantastic. I like
and
that.
and that's one of the things that I've been noticing about all of this is that so many people are trying to do like interactive things that bring people into contact with each other because we are not near each other at all. and we can't like go out and hang out. We're not doing anything social at all, and so we're trying to find new ways to do it, to make things happen. So, and the fact that you guys kind of stuck with us through our video choke here.
I know we don't have a lot for upcoming events because we are all on lockdown.
Because we're not doing upcoming events.
I'm excited because I'm going to be hosting some online sewing circles coming up. And the first one, we're doing like a little test sewing circle on Friday. And then after that, I'm going to try to see if I can host the online sewing circles once a week. So it should be fun. Okay. Hope it works out. And Sean set up a special camera setup on, it's basically, so our dining room table is my sewing room. And I tried to clean off as much of it as possible. And Sean set up a whole video setup over there so that I can do the sewing circle. But also, Sean's going to do an unboxing of something that he just received, and he's going to try and do some...
I got something from China, and I've been letting it kind of cool off. I'm like, all right, so it takes like 3 days for coronavirus stuff to wear off of cardboard and et cetera and so forth. So so I've been letting that cool off. But I have that. There's Lego kits we can build. I have a couple of unboxings. In fact, I have 3. I got a couple of Disney toys I could do. Gotcha. But I have a weird thing that Colleen encouraged me to buy that's sort of for the car. So, but it's hopefully it'll work out. And the question is like, where do we do it? Do we do it like? I'd love to be able to do Twitch and Facebook at the same time. Be really great. But is it something that we should just do on Facebook, or is it something that we should do?
Oh, that's what you mean about. I'm like, where do we do it? We do it at the dining room. We already talked about that.
No,
where
to show it? Do we do it on Twitch, or do we do it like on Facebook?
Well,
or can we
the sewing
do
circles are going to be on Google Hangouts.
Oh, okay.
That's what we decided.
Nice.
Is the format that is easiest for people who are not familiar with technology to deal with. It's super easy to get into. The only problem is a news story that happened this week. Oh, do we need to end it?
Yes, we do. All right, we're just about done with our second hour here, and so for the purposes of our replay later on this weekend with Docking Bay 94 and on Krypton Radio, we'll let you guys know that you have been listening to Docking Bay 94. Big thanks to Boba Kit Sovine, who's doing all our social media. Big thanks to everybody who's hanging out on Twitch and to people who've been listening here on KryptonRadio.com. We are going to continue doing the show, so you can listen to after show stuff. We'll keep that going on Krypton as well as Twitch. But in the meantime,
I'm calling Kaylee Crosby.
This is Jeff Donoho.
And I'm Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby. As always, may the force be with you. Alrighty, and I'm just going to let everything run. It's going to automatically cut off our show at the 2-hour mark, and otherwise we can just keep going till we're all tired.
Yep.
So Wildcard 9 points out that you should do unboxing outside during the virus scare so that you don't bring the virus in on the packaging.
Right. Well, the 2 things that I have that are Disney things are safe. I know those are good. And the thing that I got from China, I can certainly do outside. It'd probably work better outside anyway. But I've had that for nearly a week, and I think it should be safe. So
great.
It should be all right. Based on what we've been talking about for
unboxing
for stuff. Well, but the guy who was talking about packaging that we watched the video of, based on his criteria, I think we're good.
Yeah.
So, but it's been hard not to go over and open it because I'm like, oh, I want to check it out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave my phone running for now and the computer on. I just have to run to do something, and I'll be back in a few minutes. So.
Okay.
Okay.
We will be here.
Groovy.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out how to like get Jeff on Skype and then into the show, into the regular show feed. Although today it didn't matter because we've had the same screen over here forever over on Twitch. And I haven't found a way to reboot that without shutting off the feed, which is the thing. There needs to be like a refresh button that I just can't. I can't do it. I can report us though, and tell us that we are that we are bad people. Actually, what's really funny. So we just went into like our third hour, and we got 2 more people.
Okay. They just come and listen to Dead Air every Thursday night.
What
well,
happens?
no, at this time they listen to overtime.
They listen to the after show.
Yeah.
That'd be really funny if for some reason that whatever we do for the after show is much more interesting than what we do for the normal show.
So Eric says Facebook would have more people than Twitch, probably.
Yeah, I think so too. And honestly, so if I wanted to...
Oh, Eric says the people came over from Krypton Radio. But maybe it's because they didn't realize that... I thought we said it, but maybe we didn't. That Krypton has overtime too now.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I mean, it's kind of cool to have people over here on Twitch because they can type in and
because they can interact with us. Yeah.
So, if I wanted to be particularly crazy, and if we had the bandwidth for it, I could actually, have the phone do like Facebook Live, and I could have the laptop do Twitch. And there are ways around that. I might be able to find a way to do whatever's coming out of OBS, which is what we use to broadcast on Twitch. I might be able to send that feed to Facebook also. Because I know so many more people over on Facebook than we have over on Twitch. I've got like my friends list fluctuates in fascinating ways because I tend to annoy people, and then I think they defriend me. I'm like, okay, well, good. And so I'll almost hit 5,000, and then I'll go down to like 4,300 because I'll say something and people get mad. A whole bunch of people bail out, and that's okay. I'm totally cool with that. If I'm annoying the crud out of you, you should go. It's a very pragmatic opinion. But yeah, I like doing things live on Facebook. Making both of those things happen.
Wildcard9 says that it's a bummer being on the Krypton Radio Discord during this show because nobody's there.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's just too hard. There's too many different things that we're trying to look at.
We can't keep them all open at the same time. Yeah. And like I like all of the chat features to Discord better. And that's like a lot more interesting, and you can comment better, you can share little emoticons on, you can like comments people made, a whole bunch of stuff that Twitch doesn't have for their chat. And but it's not like you can throw the video up there either. So it's for now Twitch is it, I guess. But I mean, in a perfect world, I have a thing on my phone when I want to post to Instagram. I can take a picture, edit it, post it to Instagram, and at the same time I can send it to Tumblr and Twitch Twitter and Facebook, and it'll go everywhere. And that's what I need for this. When we do this show, it needs to go to Krypton, it needs to go to Twitch, it needs to go to YouTube, all of these places. I don't mind splitting the audience, but I'd just like to give people options, I guess. So. And I feel Facebook, I know a lot of people who are doing things on Facebook Live. They're reading books on there, or like Greg was reading his book. And, you can do that. And I can always take a video of something I've done and thrown it up there, and people can watch it after the fact. But there's a lot to be said for doing it live, where you guys get to be more participatory in it. And that's more fun. I like that a lot better. But, it's hard, and were we made of money, it would be a non-issue because we could just like buy all the equipment, and we would have like a tech advisor, I think. grab somebody from your office and go, hey, help us out with this. You know,
A tech advisor?
a tech advisor who could basically go, oh, yeah, you want to broadcast on 5 different mediums? This is how you do it. So,
There is no longer anybody in my office who would be,
who knows how to do it?
who knows how to do that.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
Yep.
But you get my point.
Yes.
So there you go.
Um,
But yeah, I'd like to. Apparently, there's a way to get a Skype feed into the broadcasting that we do, and so we could actually maybe replace Jeff with, or replace BB-8 with Jeff when he calls in. So I'm looking into it. I just haven't figured it out yet, which is kind of the story of my life. Like, I look at our little Twitch page and I'm like, you know, I should update some of that stuff that's up there. And I have a suggestion box. Nobody has ever made a suggestion, you know.
I could make suggestions.
But it could also the suggestions will be like,
Clean up your room.
yeah, whatever. I have been working on it slowly. Not in the past couple days though, because I've been doing the Titanic thing.
Yep.
I got hijacked by this Titanic menu, which is interesting because we're trying to decide what the fate of Costume College is. Is it going? Is it not going? And it's hard to know when to pull the plug on that.
Well, we don't have to decide for another 3 weeks, so
Yeah, we don't. So we
it
shall
will be
see.
easier to decide later.
Yes.
So anyway, sorry, I'm
Yes.
looking over at the chat. What were we talking about before we devolved into?
Well, I interrupted you, and I don't remember what I interrupted you for, because we were talking about the movie list and doing the quiz, which took a long time, and then I had to sign off at Krypton Radio, and then you had something like a story or something you were reading that you had started to talk about that we had to preempt, and I'm sorry, I don't remember what that is.
It wasn't a story in our thing.
It was something you were reading online, I thought, that you had information on, but maybe not.
Nope.
Okay.
It was not.
Okay.
I do not know.
I'm
It would be really funny if we signed off the show and didn't tell Jeff, and then he
I
came
know,
back and he
right?
was like, "Hello,
Jeff,
hello."
he's like gone out. He's getting food. He's like taking it easy. He got sidetracked by Animal Crossing, which
No,
just
he got sidetracked by actual animals crossing. They have a lot
right.
of pets.
I guess most of the people I know have now downloaded the Animal Crossing app and are now playing.
I don't even know what Animal Crossing
That.
is. So
I don't know. It's something. What is it called? Pocket Island. You like build your little pocket.
I just told you I didn't know what it was.
So
Maybe he's asking you guys on the chat.
yeah, it was a
not.
general thing. So everybody started talking about it, and I just assumed it was on Switch. I didn't realize it was on the phone, and whatnot. So I'm like, whatever. And I am non-engaged. Whereas like Jeff spent 15 hours or something playing it the other day.
So the only person on either the chat or the show who knows anything about it has stepped away for a few minutes.
Right.
And we're trying to talk about it.
I guess
That's awesome.
so.
Eric asks what we're all doing to keep from going crazy.
Well, we took a walk through the neighborhood and played sort of real-life Pac-Man, trying to avoid people as they were.
Because there's a lot of people out taking walks.
So every time we'd see someone in front of us, we'd cross the other side of the street and try not to get hit.
And then somebody would come around the
them.
corner, and we'd be like,
And
ah!
we'd be like, oh, yeah, it was really.
And then we'd try
really
and
tough.
cross the street again, but then there would be somebody there, and it was very exciting.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sleeping well at all, so I'm dead tired in the middle of the day, and I'm wide awake in the middle of the night, so my schedule's way, way, way off. Which is only mildly better than just not sleeping at all, which is usually what happens. But I'm on Facebook a lot more than I usually am.
I'm on Facebook more than is healthy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I've been looking to see what everybody's doing, but as far as doing things to keep from going nuts.
I do
I don't
have to
have
say
much.
that our weekday lives haven't changed all that much because
Well, you're still working.
I'm still sitting behind my desk for 8 or 9 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I just moved where my desk is, so I don't have to drive anywhere. And then but and my after work, I usually have a once a week a friend comes over and sews with me. And a lot of times when I say sews with me, it's with air quotes because we don't actually sew. We just sit there and chat.
Right.
But
And occasionally you will go out somewhere and do like a sewing thing with some people.
yeah, but my weekdays have not changed all that much except that we're trying to order out less, but that has been since January when we started dieting.
Yeah.
And
which is kind of why it was a big deal that we had like sort of made the decision to go to McDonald's. It was actually like a monumentous decision because we haven't been there in months.
Yeah. But also it's kind of weird because everybody's talking about how you should support your local restaurants, and we haven't really been able to do that either because of the self-imposed quarantine. We're in just a little bit more than, we haven't been to the grocery store, and it's only been a week because you have to stay in quarantine for 14 days, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And today will make 1 week.
This is 1 week, yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
I mean, we haven't, to my knowledge, really gotten on each other's nerves yet. We seem to be okay there.
I think I'm still scarred from your conversation with your mother, though.
Yeah, I had a pretty awful conversation with my mom.
Yeah.
If I didn't know for a fact she was really my mom, I would think I was adopted. And we're diametrically opposed politically. And it's hard when I was raised by these people who were my parents, but the way they are acting now is in complete contrariness to the way I was raised. And I'm having a hard time dealing with that too, because it's like you taught me to value these things and you are either being directly opposite from those, or you do not care about those anymore. And so it was weird. I called my mom for her birthday, and I feel awful about this, but it was her birthday, and we had like a 2-hour-long argument, and it was just really bad.
Halfway through, I was like, you guys have been arguing for an hour. Maybe you should just not talk to each other. And they both agreed, and then continued to argue for another hour.
Well, we tried to stop, and it stopped for a couple of minutes, and then it did not stop.
It
went back to it. It was really terrible.
Yeah.
So that was like the most tense part about like being here. But honestly, that could have like happened any time.
Yeah.
It is hard for me to not like jump in the car and go somewhere because I'm a very spontaneous project person.
Yes.
And so I'll get an idea and I jump in the car and I go and I get my stuff, I collect all my parts, I like gather everything together and I come home and I make it happen.
Yeah.
And that I can't do right now, which is putting a crimp in things. And
well, and also like Sean has been staying home more in the past like year or so. Excuse me, I'm so tired. Oh. But yeah, now it's that you can't go out and spend the afternoon like shopping for something or run down to Disneyland or
and we're not doing
events.
We're not doing
events
like the charity events. All of those things have dried up. And so
Yeah.
there are a bunch of events that I was going to be point of contact for. Those are gone. Jeff is the same way. Jeff had a bunch of things that were on the slate. And we just now canceled, like this week, we canceled the Rancho Cucamonga Star Wars Day. It's been going on for 13 years. We have maybe 5,000-6,000 people who show up, maybe more. It's huge, and it takes over the the mall next door. It's a big open air mall. So it's really hard to tell how many people are there because it's a big long street and it's the library and it's the courtyard and it's huge. And I'm usually MC for that. I help the planning with that along with the 501st and Rebel Legion and Mandom Works and all those cool groups. And they just called it. It's Memorial Day weekend, and they said, well, in the interest of being safe, it looks like this is going to go longer than we think it's going to go. We're going to make it a virtual thing. And so now we're trying to figure out how to get the writers and things that were going to come to the event to maybe do video interviews and things with us. And Yuri's Night is the same way. Yuri's Night is in honor of Yuri Gagarin. It is a worldwide fundraiser for science education. And on the same day, all around the world, which I think is April 11th this year, they do all of these great science programs in Kennedy Space Center in Florida and Space Center Houston and here at the California Science Center, and they do them in England and Paris and Spain and wherever they want to do one. And it's a huge celebration. It's how they make their money for their science outreach. It's a proper charity. It's the 501c3 and the whole deal. And they decided not to do it, and now they want to do it virtually, so that you watch on YouTube. They sort of live stream all their stuff on YouTube and maybe you can connect there through Zoom, which I haven't even loaded up yet. I have no idea how Zoom works, but I know everybody with a kid at home is using Zoom for their online classes now. So all these events that we would normally do and we'd be telling you about that they're coming and this is the neat stuff they're doing, they're all in flux. And so discussing Yuri's Night tonight, they're still figuring out the tech. They have guests galore, and how are they going to make them all work? And then because it's a worldwide celebration, you have a time zone issue. And so, are you going to do like a 24-hour thing where, you start at 4 p.m. somewhere and then you just keep shifting time zones around the world? And it's
crazy.
going to be weird. It's going to be tough. So Yuri's Night, right now, a lot of my energy will be going towards that. We had the Orange County Zoo, I think, which called itself off. We had the Yorba Linda Library, which called its event off. And the Rancho Cucamonga Library. All of these things that like Jeff or I would be point of contact on, or we would at least be attending in costume, and we have duties at these places. We help make these events really great. We don't have that to eat up our time right now, and it's a strange adjustment. It's really, really weird. And so I don't have like a normal day job beyond my radio show to keep me 9 to 5. And I think that's almost harder, where I don't have a job that I can transfer from there to here.
Right.
And still do that.
I think that a lot of people don't have that. And what the focus is online, or a lot of people are saying, what's keeping you busy, what's keeping you from going crazy, are all the people who suddenly have nothing. For me, it is less of a transition than it is for other people, because it's harder that I can't I need to go look that up in a file, or I need to ask my coworker, and neither one of those are available to me right now. So I have to just do it on my own, but I'm still sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day, doing the same type of work.
And you're pretty busy, and you're taking calls and texts and putting out fires, and you're just doing it remotely now.
Yeah, I'm just doing it remotely. So my life hasn't changed all that much. I think that yours has changed more than mine. Yeah.
And then completely different from us, Jeff is still going into his office.
Yeah.
And so
it sounds like Jeff is there, but really far away.
Yeah. You're back, right, Jeff?
I just got back, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're a little quiet. So I don't know if that's because you're far away from your phone or what's going on, but you're pretty quiet.
Yes, I am in a way. I'm putting some stuff up.
Oh.
Okay. You kind of sound like you're in a toilet.
It's probably that's the house that it's out now. It's I had to throw it on the speaker so I could actually hear what you're saying.
I see.
It becomes all tinny when I go and does that stuff.
Well, let me see if I can boost you up a little bit without blowing out the speakers here. It's It's always a tough call. But I mean, on the plus side of things, because I do have this extra time, I am, trying to get the studio cleaned and stuff. And I don't know if you can look behind me. There is this pyramid of white over my head, and that was a shelf that was all just like full of crud last week. I went through the shelves, I threw away a lot of stuff, and I organized a bunch of stuff, and now I've got like space to put some display stuff back there and things like that. And I'm trying to work my way around the room.
Yeah.
I did clean the floors in here, and I did wipe all the surfaces down and things like that because we're trying to make sure that from a cleanliness standpoint, we don't have anything that is fostering any kind of illness, not just coronavirus stuff, but
Yeah.
we don't want us to get sick in any way, shape, or form. So there's a lot of stuff, and so the desks all got wiped down and sterilized and all of that kind of stuff, and it's been an interesting stuff and stuff that we needed to do, and it's spring and it's kind of a spring cleaning anyway, but it's cleaning is not the thing that makes me feel very accomplished.
No, not really.
Yeah, and especially me because my field of vision without my glasses is about a foot. It's about 12 inches. And I spend most of my time in the house without my glasses. And so I can look across the room and it looks perfectly fine to me. Whereas, something could be horribly dusty or dirty or cluttered or whatever. And I don't see it because it's just out of my field of distance vision.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like we just put some pictures up that Colleen had wanted up for a while. And Colleen's like, these look great. It really changes the look of the wall. It's totally awesome. I can't see them. In fact, there's one that almost blends into the wall. And without my glasses, I can't tell
The one above the door.
that it's there.
Yeah.
I just can't even tell. And so
It's like the same color as the paint.
yeah, it kind
So-
of blends in a little bit. And so that's the thing. And so Colleen's like, "Oh my gosh, we have these paintings, these pictures that we haven't put up on the wall in so long." And the term out of sight, out of mind? That's my life.
Mhm.
It's like anything that's more than a foot away from me is like completely out of my frame of reference to
Yeah.
keep track on stuff. So yeah, it's a weird way to it's a weird way to live. Because Colleen's like, "Oh man, we really should do something about that." I'm like, "Looks fine to me." So, but yeah, we're getting some stuff done around here, and we haven't been at each other yet, so we're not quite going stir crazy.
Yeah.
Might be soon though.
Could be soon. I was really disappointed about McDonald's falling through. That totally sucked.
Yeah.
Because I was like so looking forward to it. I thought we had solved the problem. I thought that we were, and I know McDonald's is crap food. But from a comfort food standpoint, McDonald's to me tastes exactly the same way it did when I was 8 years old. And so, there's a certain comfort there too. It's like Bob's Big Boy. I go to Big Boy and I get a Big Boy hamburger. It tastes just like it did when I was a kid. And that's awesome. And I value that, even though like McDonald's is crap. So I got very excited about going there tonight. And the fact that I overthought it, I guess, where I'm like, oh yeah, these are the guys who are a national chain and they'll be on it. And then there were just all of these awful problems with it. Really kind of sucked. So we'll try again someday. Especially because we had plotted out the other part of it, which was how do we safely get the food and get it back to our house and not interact with anybody and all of that kind of stuff. And in the process of chasing this, of trying to get this to work, we ended up at the drive-through window talking to a human who was like not that far away, and then we had to go to another window
Although I
and repeat
pulled
the thing.
Way over to the side so that if they had decided to hand us food out of the window, I wouldn't have been able to reach it.
Right. There was like 2-3 feet of space between us and the window.
Yeah,
And
there was not 6 feet.
I couldn't get out of the car because she was up against the hedge, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But so we did what we could do, but it was dumb. It was really, really dumb. And I've been seeing my friends on Facebook who are like, I went to the Northwoods Inn and they packaged up a meal for us. And look, here she is handing us the bags with her gloves and everything's in a big giant bag. And, it's, and this was just like a little tiny corner uh, of the world kind of restaurant that they've only got like, what, 3 or 4 maybe of these restaurants. And, and that worked. That was good. So, oh well, sometimes, the best laid plans, as they say.
Yeah, well, what can you do?
But
Have to go back in a month.
yeah, it could go back in a month. What do you have?
Root beer candy.
Colleen has a root beer candy. Oh, it's very small.
Just because I broke it in half.
Yeah, I had a
There was
Jolly Rancher candy.
There was half of this root beer stick.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ate a bite off the end, and then I broke it in half and gave you half.
Cool.
And me half.
Well, I had a Jolly Rancher, and it was melty, and so it was kind of weird.
These were the 2 things I found in the candy dish.
Nice. We have a tin that holds our candy, and pretty much the only thing that isn't like Christmas era candy canes
or
Halloween candy and stuff. There's a roll of Necco wafers, which are like sort of the in case of emergency break glass.
Yeah.
Except that Sean likes Necco wafers.
Necco wafers. I love Necco wafers.
So that's not.
I don't think you like them at all.
No, they're gross.
No, I love Necco wafers.
They're
but
like flavorless
the
chalk.
company's not making them yet. The company changed hands. They swear they're coming back. They're not back yet. But Necco wafers are they're like historical candy. They're about the same as they were in the late 1800s when like Civil War soldiers were carrying this stuff. So
the 1860s.
Yeah, I like them. They're good. Colleen, not so much. It's okay. She likes butterscotch more than I do.
I like butterscotch a lot.
Mm-hmm. So to each their own.
Mm-hmm.
We don't judge, but we meet in the middle over
I thought the
chocolate.
candy stick was butterscotch. That's why I took that one and gave you the
the
Jolly
root beer?
Rancher.
Oh, the Jolly Rancher. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And then it turned out
And then
to
when
be
it
root
turned
beer.
out to be root beer, I broke. So you got the Jolly Rancher and
Oh, look at
part
me.
of the.
You know what's really weird is cleaning up around here. I found some lollipops here.
Wow.
These are left over from the trip to Korea. These are Korean lollipops bought on site and illegally transported in my luggage.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, illegally transported in Jasmine's luggage because I think I got these. I traded candy with her. And so I'm like, I got
Why
careful.
were they illegally transported?
Well, we just threw them in our bags. We didn't like claim them as,
You don't have to claim them.
stuff as we went through customs. We didn't go, we have bags of candy. We just threw them in our carry-ons. But
can't have any Korean candy coming in the country.
yeah, it was funny. That was like what, a year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that. Very interesting stuff. Hey, I'll put this out there. I mentioned earlier that my hard drive crashed, and I need to have that recovered. I have tried everything. My computer system will not acknowledge that there's actually a hard drive plugged in. So it's either the controller card on the board that went, or there's some like actual physical damage to the hard drive that happened. So I think I'm going to have to go to a data recovery place. If there's a place that you guys have used, let me know either on Twitch or on Facebook or something, and we'll see. There's a couple places around here. We are a very tech-heavy area, so I don't know how expensive or inexpensive it will be around here. I guess it's one of those things that is a you get what you pay for kind of a deal. I mean, you obviously don't want to pass that over to the lowest bidder, I guess. Make sure they can actually recover your stuff. But yeah, 20 years of pictures. I would like those back.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get those back. Yeah.
That'd be really nice. And then my backup drive that they would normally have been backed up onto, that crashed and took the original drive that was backing up onto it with it. So I've lost like 3 hard drives in short order. And it really sucks. I don't know. I don't really trust external hard drives anymore. I'll tell you that much. That really blows.
Wildcard9 says throw the drive into a USB case and try to access it that way.
Yeah, that's my next plan. I do have one of those, and I tried it. I tried it with the ones that got corrupted during the backup process, and that I couldn't make that work with that. It didn't
Oh
happen.
boy.
I will try it with this one before because if I can, it's not a system drive, so I don't have to start the computer off of it. It's just a data drive, and I'll really honestly, if I can just get it those directories and just gank stuff off of it, that would be perfectly fine because all it is just storage. It's not. They're not games. There's not anything. It's just pictures and files that I'm keeping documents and things like that. So and some of that stuff I have backed up in other places up to a certain point, but there's a good like maybe 4 years of pictures that aren't on my redundant backup.
Oh
So
boy.
too complicated, too weird, and never
Yeah.
works out the way I want. So yeah, I'll take whatever suggestions you guys have if you've dealt with that in the past. Because
So
it's
but
okay.
I'm gonna get going, guys. It's like 9:30.
Yeah, it's 9:30. No worries, dude. Take care of the family. Hope everything's going okay. And you guys aren't driving each other crazy yet either?
No, not yet. Bound to happen though.
Yeah, well,
Soon.
fingers crossed. Right on, dude. I will talk to you
All right.
later.
All right. Good night, all.
Take
Good
off,
night.
So there was a Bob and Doug Mackenzie statue that was unveiled in Edmonton, Canada, quietly, without much fanfare, because everybody is sequestered for coronavirus, and so it just went out there, and people are starting to find it, and it's kind of like going its little viral way. But Bob and Doug Mackenzie, of course, being the Canadian brothers from the Great White North on the TV show SCTV, and they were huge in the 1980s and had their own movie and all sorts of stuff. Had an album that was fun. Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas, and so apparently this statue has been in the works for 3 or 4 years, and the it's been so secret that the artist hasn't been able to tell people what he's been working on. But he actually went. He talked to Rick Moranis. He talked to Dave Thomas. He got their input on it, and they had done a thing where they had apparently every bronze statue that they make has a colored coating on it. So even if you see a nice bronze statue with a patina on it, that's still a coating. And so they put that on. It's like an enamel, and then they wax it, and the wax lasts for a couple of years. They got to do that every couple of years, and you can color those. And so they had the clothes all in normal clothes colors, and then they had their faces as a normal like bronze thing, which I guess looked really great during the day, and then
It
at
doesn't look
night
good in the picture.
it made them look really evil. And in the picture they ended up painting them, so they made them flesh colored, which is kind of interesting. So, but it's pretty fun. Were I in Edmonton, I would seek it out as a tourist thing to go see. Kind of neat.
I'm tired too.
Yeah, I think we're about to call it, especially because our
Feet are cold.
Twitch feed has been so weird. Yeah, and I took the heater from you, so that's been the biggest problem. Is our feet have been cold. It's been about 60 degrees in the house. It's been kind of chilly. So we shall see. Well, to you guys who stayed for the after show stuff, thank you so very, very much for hanging out. We appreciate it. The replay of the show won't contain this part, so it's if you listen later and go, "Hey, what happened to all that?" Well, that's why the replay on Krypton Radio. But we will keep doing this, and we'll try to keep you guys apprised of things that we're doing. I had wanted to read like choose your own adventure book and stuff like that. We'll try to let you guys know as we do that over on the thing.
Wildcard 9 needs to go to sleep.
Yep, bedtime for everybody. Say goodnight, Colleen.
Good night, Colleen.
Good night, Sean. Good night, Kit, who's still poking
Night,
around.
Kit.
And good night to Pappy-Wan Kenobi and
Good night,
TKDS66.
Good night,
and
John Boy.
everybody. Jeff's already gone to bed. We will see all y'all later. Bye, Eric. And have a good one. Stay safe. Stay well. May the Force be with you. And I will see some of you on the air tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time when we do Good Morning Tatooine. We do this all over again. Signing off at Krypton Radio. See you guys later. And signing off from Twitch. Have a good one, guys. And let's do it again next week, shall we? Stay well.